Anybody?
Oh, well, it's gonna be Steve Ford. He's usually here. so.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's give them a chance. Sophie, are you ready? You want to try C2? Sophie? Hello?
Well, she doesn't have her mic on. Here she is.
Sophie? Okay, and so this would be item C21567. Project is acceptable. Cabana to be as closely detailed to existing residents as possible. Return with neighborhood compatibility study to justify FAR exceedance. Document landscape screening on the site. Claire, have you had a chance to look at these drawings, please?
Yes, I have.
And do you believe that your portion of it's been taken care of, please?
Oh, as far as the landscape, yes, I do.
And did you have a chance to look at the FAR, please?
No, I didn't look at the FAR.
I did. It looks to me like, yes, she's over. And
Yeah.
yes, there is good, what the guidelines want is compatibility with the neighborhood. And I think that she demonstrated that. But
Could you also go to the next page where I have all of the neighbors?
yes,
There, thank you.
I saw that. I saw
Okay,
that.
so the
Yeah,
average,
I did see this, and I'm just responding to John. Yes, I did look at this, and I looked at this whole page and checked things out.
Sophie?
yes, so these are all the neighboring in green that were of comparable lot size only. And then I did all the FAR calculations down below, and the average of all of these are 148%.
Yeah, I saw that. So I believe you accomplished that. Can we get down to, so no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elevations, please. I asked Bill to be our special guest today. This originally had stone on the exterior, as does the primary buildings, right? Or the primary building. And so it said detail as closely as possible. I want to make sure that Bill's okay with this, Claire's okay with this, or do we need to get the full board? This was kind of a big change, Sophie, and I think it's fine, but to have a big change, but I want to get some opinions. Bill, if you had a chance to look at this, please.
Yeah, I had a chance. I'm okay with generally the size and shape and everything. I was thinking if it wasn't too big of a deal and we wanted to try and tie it together, maybe the chimney, not just the chimney stack, but taking it down to the ground, you could do that in stone if that was acceptable to others. Otherwise, I'm okay with it being plaster. The only other thing, Sophie, I'd be aware of is your cupola. Looks like a prefabricated deal, and it's got like hardy siding or something on it. Are you going to?
No, the roofing is all slate. It's all original slate on the main house, and so that's why we were showing slate on these as well.
No, I meant on the siding of the cupola. The cupola, in your detail, it looks like it's got some kind of a hardy siding on it there.
Oh, okay.
And it says hardy board and batten siding over Tyvek, which obviously that's kind of a foreign thing. So
Yeah, we could change that. I could change those notes.
maybe you just want to stick build that thing and do a little copper cap on it and call it a day instead of using the prefab. That was the only, and the last thing I saw was that on your, just a heads up to the owners that those rolling doors on that will not seal the leaves and the windy dirt from getting inside that space, as you may know already. So that's more of an advice, not a comment about the design.
Claire, do you have a comment about the general architecture of switching from stone to cement plaster, please?
No, I don't, I mean, and I did went through every, and for me, because this is, I remember seeing this, but I don't remember the discussion that this building had to be. So I went through and looked at everything to see if I could find the original, what was originally proposed. because I never remembered the conversation that has driven the fact that the building was originally, I mean, I know, yeah, these buildings were all in stone, but I don't remember that the applicant we were asked the applicant to use stone on the building.
She had presented it to us as stone.
Yes, okay, that's what I see. That's kind of what I was trying to look for, when I saw the emails.
Okay.
I have no problem with the building being as is, and and then if for me, if it stays the way it is, then it's a question: are the details that all the details around the building consistent with the main building?
Bill, you're Mr. Detail. What do you think?
Yeah, the details are fine other than the cupola, but I didn't see, what color would you make that, Sophie?
The building?
Yeah, did you have a color selected there? I didn't see a color.
That's what I was looking for, the color boards.
Yeah,
and
I'm looking
find it.
for.
I was thinking, Sophie, we got to keep moving. Would you be willing to have a modeled, variegated plaster color somewhere in the brown tones?
Well,
So-
if we can match the sandstone, it has a lot of different colors in it, but to get a muted tan beigey color that would be, good, the same quality of the color that is on the primary house.
You can do that?
Yes.
Okay, so Bill, would you be able to make a motion when we get up to the full board?
Yeah,
So I think what we want.
John?
Yes,
I just have one other thing. I think that when she goes through that, it should be the building should be an integral color plaster.
that's
Not-
what you're talking about, right, Sophie?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Bill, can you take care of that motion for us?
yeah, will do.
Okay, Steve Ford or someone else for item C1, anybody?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay,
Blake.
so thank you, Sophie. We'll see you at the main board, or I guess you have an item later today too, so we'll see you then. Okay, so item C1 is 55 Crestview Lane. Nice project, return the full details. Claire, did you have a chance to look at these, please?
Yes, I did.
And do you have a comment about them?
No,
please?
I have no comments to make.
Bill, did you take a look or?
I did, yeah.
And do you have a comment, please?
No, they looked fine to me.
I am becoming increasingly concerned about water. I find it extremely interesting and complimentary. It does not look like there is a single blade of grass on this project. And so I guess you are the landscape architect, is that correct?
I am, and I'm confirming that fact because I thought we had a very small sliver of it, David, or John.
I don't see it. So I thought that the plans were very nice. I thought it represented what you have presented and represented all the way through. You're just making good on it, and I would be willing to make a motion for approval as submitted at the full meeting. Bill, do you and Claire agree with that, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so very good job. Thank you very much. And item C3, please. 680 San Ysidro Road. Anybody here for that, please?
I'm here.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. The existing main residence. Okay, so do I need to read this? Everybody, did you guys
No,
get a
I
chance?
can read it. It's right in front of us.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read it and all of that. As people had a chance to look at these drawings, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I did not see any site lighting on this project. Are you proposing it, please?
We were not proposing it. A lot of the landscape design is existing. So the areas
Okay.
we're adding, we're either leaving the existing lighting. We're not proposing adding any additional.
Okay, with that being said, Bill, are you okay with this project, please?
Well, I had a couple things. Did I miss the colors and the exterior lighting on the building? I didn't see those anywhere. Was I missing that somewhere?
colors of exterior lighting, you said?
No,
it's
exterior
color of
finishes.
Is it?
Oh, the exterior finishes, if you scroll down to, keep going down the set, there's a, so go up, to the page.
Was it elevations? Would it have been on exterior? It might have been on.
There's a finish sheet that is basically matching the existing, horizontal TNG.
Oh, so.
There you
so
go.
it
Yeah,
matches
it's
color?
basically, yeah, matching the existing color.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then the lighting, are you changing exterior lighting on the building, not the landscape, but the building?
No, we're not doing any exterior lighting, any sconces or anything of that nature.
And then the last question was, is the chimney new or is that existing?
The chimney is existing, but we're adding a new one that's going to be a similar design to the existing.
And is it stone clad?
It's going to be Santa Barbara sandstone, yeah.
So is it a masonry flue and everything? Or are you gonna do
Blue
a
would be
metal pipe?
metal piped. It's going to be a direct vent, yeah. It's going to be.
So I didn't see a cap detail for that because you'll have a spark arrestor, right? And some kind of a
Right.
flashing cap and all that good stuff. So that was one thing I didn't see.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything.
So Bill, what do you want to do about that, please?
Well,
Have the applicant to add it to the plans as amended, something.
could the planner review, or I
Yeah.
don't know, send it to me to review it, I guess?
We can, what I think we need to do is if we sign off on it, have the planner review with you. I
Yeah.
think that motion can get made that way.
Yeah, and one last thing too, on your detail, you show both horizontal and vertical grids, those 2x3s that you have on that thing. But on the elevations, you only show them going vertically, not horizontally. Are you?
Well, we have the TNG going horizontally that matches the existing, and then we added the vertical members to identify the addition versus the existing. You can
Well,
see
you actually show it on your detail. I think, Dave, it's on the other set of drawings.
Yeah, if you scroll down. If you go to A721, there's exterior details there. It kind of shows you what we're doing.
Shows the siding. Yeah.
Right. It shows the siding, and then it shows how we're
So,
have a perpendicular member going vertically. Go back to that set you had there at part 2, I believe.
oh, the part 2. Sorry, Dave.
And then 7201, 7.20, 7.21.
Yeah, we don't know those numbers. We only
There we
know
go.
It's
PDF
on the,
numbers.
yeah, there you go. It's on the side.
Go down, next one.
Here's a detail right there.
Mhm.
So zoom into 7, detail 7 or 8.
Right. So we have.
You
Mhm.
show a horizontal. Is that just around the window trims?
Yes, correct. Yeah, that horizontal is just around the window, and then it's at the bottom as well.
All right. Okay. That's fine.
So Bill, you want to go for this motion as well at the full board?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Claire, are you okay with it being?
Yes, yeah, there
Okay,
was
as am
not
I.
really much, yeah, there wasn't much for me to look at, so.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, so we start the full meeting in about a minute, so does anybody know what that building is in my background, please?
What is that? Don't know.
Boy.
It's John's test of the day. As to
What did we get if we
how
get it
well all
right?
you architects might know where this building is.
I can't see it well enough. Mine's only the tiny little screen, John.
I can't
Yeah.
control that unless
Yeah, I
Dave
know.
drops off,
Is it,
which I don't want him to
is it a
do.
Richard Meyer project? It looks
It
like
is very good. And
Very
where?
Good
It's,
boy.
it's in Rome, and you know the name of it, please.
Oh, it's
don't know. I cannot give that information. Just looks like a Meyer.
Excellent. It is Richard Meyer. It is called Jubilee Chapel or Jubilee Church. It was designed actually as a neighborhood renovation inspiration right in the middle of kind of a ghetto-y area. And it's did what it was supposed to do. It's brought the entire neighborhood up. So if you're in
Bravo.
Rome,
What
That's the place.
year, John? Do you know when it was built?
I think it was the 80s, but I'm not sure. You can look it up, Jubilee Church.
Well,
You'll
the
find
last
it.
time I was in Rome was in the 60s, so that's why I never saw it.
That building doesn't look like a building from the 60s.
No, I
Okay.
understand.
So it is now 1 o'clock. Do we have a quorum, please? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least. Tip, are you with us, please?
Yes, I am.
That's 6, so I think we are good. So thank you. I would like to call to order the February 23rd, 2023 Montecito Board of Architectural Review. First item on is public comment. Anybody want to address the board on items not on our agenda, please?
John, I didn't get any comments for general public.
Excellent, thank you. Agenda status report,
Believe it or not, no changes today.
okay.
Let me send a text.
Bill, mute yourself, please. The minutes did not get done. I would like to make a motion to review the minutes at a future meeting, please. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion, please? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Carried, we will assume unanimously. MBAR member informational briefings. Tip, I know you have something to tell us.
Yep, I will be stepping down item number 2.
Do you know what number that is? I can't remember.
That's 1685 Funnel Point.
Number 2, Tip is out on number 2.
Oh my God.
Anything else, Tip? Is that it?
That's about it.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else? Okay, item number 3, WELO subcommittee discussion. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background, guys. And so I got a series of emails this morning, not the least of which was from Lisa Plowman, director of the department. And she said, John, we're buried. Can we do this later? And I can understand from a planning point of view, from a departmental point of view, from a government that has to have billing codes and approvals and things like that, why this might not easily fit into their workflow. I still think that it is an extremely important topic, and I think that private citizens have a right to meet together if they wish, as long as we don't establish a quorum with any committee, ours or someone else's. So I think that we should, if people are interested in discussing WELO, people have my email address. Why don't you contact me and we can try to figure out whether or not the worksheet, which is now in the box account, is a good idea, a bad idea, needs revisions, etc. We'll do this completely offline, try to come up with something if there's interest, and then bring it back maybe as a more mature proposal to people, but not now. Okay, so if anybody joined in that are not members, you are invited also to join me. So that's the end of the subcommittee discussion. Staff update, David, please.
John, I don't actually have anything. I'm not sure if Kimberly does.
Kimberly?
I do not, thank you.
Excellent. Okay,
I
so
have a question while David is there. David, I will be attending in-person meetings for the first time, and I'm not sure where that is held. Will you send me the address and suite number or whatever it is for the next meeting?
Oh yeah, so I've been I had to revise, update your notices because I was sending out the notices for that first meeting in March. So yes, it'll show up on the agenda. But yeah, I'll give you guys some special instructions. So one of the things that's actually, thank you for the reminder of that. One of the things that we may have to kind of we may struggle with the first meeting is access to the buildings, because we haven't had that in a while. So if you are, Lida, you were appointed during the pandemic, right?
Correct.
So you probably don't have a badge. So for those who have badges, you may just let me know, because we may have to reactivate rights on it. But if you have like just a fob, like the little gray thing on the keychain thing, we may need to take you out to the kiosk and get a badge for you. And so you have access to the building for the meetings. Otherwise, you'll have to go through the regular security like the public does.
So
So,
John,
yeah, go ahead, Claire.
I don't have a badge.
I don't think I do either. I don't think anyone does.
I don't either.
Okay.
I don't have one either.
So if you guys either come in a little early the day of the meeting, or you just pop in, schedule an appointment with me, we can take care of it in advance. Up to you, whatever your schedules are.
So the meeting starts at 1, no
Yeah.
matter if we're here or there. So why don't Claire and I at least should show up at 12:30 to give it enough time to be able to get over to the building, and then everybody else can come in right after us.
Okay.
It's down at the county administration building, Elida. Do you know where that is? Across
Yep,
from the courthouse?
yep. But David, if you will send me the address of your office and suite number, I'll come before that day and get this chore done.
Okay.
Good luck getting
Just-
in.
Just clarifying. So what we're talking about is the first meeting of March, whenever I don't have my book in front of me. So
The 9th.
whatever that is, that's going to be what date that is. And we're going to meet David outside of which side of the building?
So, you know what? It might just be easier to meet like on the parking lot side.
Okay, that's
That-
fine.
So let me just double check because sometimes they leave during lunch. And so let me just make sure that they're going to be there. And I'll let you know. Elida, I'll touch base with you separately.
Okay, great. So okay, I just wanted to get myself oriented, so I have it written down because I don't remember anything these days, so that's fine.
And then so like before, when I send out the agenda, I'll give you guys if I haven't already, I'll put my cell phone number in that email so you can get a hold of me if you
Got it.
and can't find me.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, are
Thank
we
you.
done with that? Thank you, Elida. Good comment. Are we done basically, guys, with staff update?
Well, I am.
Kimberly?
I am as
Okay.
well.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Montecito consent agenda. We had 3 of us at my request. I wanted to go over one item in particular. Item C1 was 55 Crestview Lane. I believe we all thought that the project was very well done, and I would like to move for a approval as submitted.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, please. Item C2 is a little bit more complicated. This is a project that Sophie Calvin brought through a while ago, and it had stone veneer on it, and our comment was basically match the detailing of the primary residence, which also had stone, as closely as possible. We talked it through with Sophie. All of us felt that there were some ways not to have her incur that cost. And I asked Bill if he would make the motion for us. So Bill, please.
Yeah, so I move to grant final approval on this project with the
Preliminary and final.
preliminary and final with the condition that she match the color of the stone with an integral plaster color on this new cabana. And that the cupola as well would be a plaster finish and not a hardy siding.
Did we want a variegated plaster finish or just a straight?
We could do a mottled plaster
I-
color that would.
I
would
thought that
match.
that's what we had asked for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mottled integral plaster color finish to match or complement the stone of the building.
Sophie, are you online, please?
You're muted.
Sophie?
Still
Okay.
muted.
Claire, are you okay with that motion, please?
Yes, I am.
And are you therefore seconding the
Oh,
motion?
yeah, no, I'll be happy to second the motion.
Is there any further discussion, please?
No,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, please. Okay, item number 3
Oh, John, before we go on, do we need to ask for public comment on that too or not?
No.
Consent,
Yes,
right?
yes, preliminary.
Oh,
Yes.
preliminary. Okay, sorry.
Mine, Bill, thank you very much. Is there any public comment on item number C2, 1567 East Valley Road, please?
I don't see any hands up, John.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Bill, for that reminder.
Sure.
Okay, now, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, please. Passes unanimously. Item number 3, C3, 680 San Ysidro Road. There were several comparatively minor comments about it. We generally like the project. Again, I asked Bill if he could form a motion for us, please, Bill.
Yeah, I'd like to move for final approval on 680 San Ysidro Road with the condition that the applicant provide a detail for the chimney cap, the stone chimney cap that was not shown. And and to further that, there will be no exterior landscape or building lighting to be proposed on this submittal.
So the motion is that we're granting it final with the planner in consultation with Bill to review the chimney cap, right?
Yes.
So they go through the planner, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody, is there a second? I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Excellent. Any further discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed. Thank you very much. Okay, regular agenda, conceptual review. Although it's not really conceptual for some reason, it's preliminary. Gretchen, are you here, please, for 1097 Gulf Road?
So,
Gretchen?
John, did you clarify? So are you saying that our package number 1, it says conceptual, but it actually should say they're here for preliminary. Is that correct?
Read the body of the text, please.
So, John, I think I know what the confusion is. So, Claire, the original agenda had it for further conceptual review. I sent out an updated one, like maybe the next day, because it should have been preliminary. So I just kept it in place so it wouldn't disrupt the numbers, the rest of the numbers. So I updated it from conceptual to preliminary. I'm sorry. So you must have the original one.
Yeah. Well, I do. I usually only print the first agenda that I receive, and then, I kind of work around that. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Gretchen, are you with us, please?
I am.
Okay, so this is a historical project which we've seen and gone back and forth about. Dave, is it possible for you to have the drawings up while we go through the memo? Can you have those 2 screens going at once, please? And Gretchen, do you mind if we attack it that way?
No,
Okay, so
that's fine.
let me go through each one. Gretchen, if you could help us figure out which sheet it is, and then we can look at it.
Sure.
And I think that'll speed things up. I want to also thank the planner. We asked him or her to organize this for us, which she did. Kathleen, are you with us, please? Kathleen? Okay, doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and read these comments. Gretchen is going to show how she addressed them, okay? Consider simplifying and modulating the design of the proposed steel pergola in the courtyard to reduce its stark form in favor of a softer, more historical design. Gretchen, what sheet, please?
Okay, let's see. You can first see it on A4, just an elevation. It is now not a steel pergola, but a wood pergola. And then you can also see there's a.
We'll pick up the details a little later, okay? But that's that used to be steel, right?
It's now wood, so that's basically a big difference. Yeah.
Okay, so the steel pergola has been replaced by a wood pergola. Okay. Next comment, as the new wood pergola will be the dominant element in the north courtyard wall, the two corner flat roof porches are not being retained and will be replaced by steel awnings. What happened with that, please?
Okay, I don't know if you recall from the photographs, there were in each corner at those entrances, there were rather large covered porches. And so with the trellis there now, and making that wood, I think that they were, it's not clear whether they were original to the house in the first place. But we are just minimizing everything in the courtyard now so that we're using these steel doors. They're actually aluminum that look like steel, but and the steel awnings, which the historic landmarks felt that they were fine with them if we didn't have the supports, the visible supports.
Which is the next comment. The project has been redesigned and the steel rods that used to be at the top holding the back have been removed. So that's that
right.
comment, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. The cornices have been retained in the new design. Can you show us where those cornices are, please?
Okay, if you look at the elevations, let me get on the right page here. You can see them in the courtyard elevation on page A4. They're right on top of the door. And they're exactly the same as the existing lintels.
But they're at the doors?
They're on top of the door. They're like lintels. They're not cornices. They're lintels.
Okay.
They were called cornices.
Okay, everybody okay with that? If everybody remembers, there was a landscape element called the folly, and it says here, the folly will be rebuilt to the original design and incorporated into the swimming pool.
That's where the pond is. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, and it also shows up on the site plan, PDF 3, David. Down there at the bottom. Correct,
You can
Gretchen?
see,
On the next
yeah, you can see it on the
plans.
3D model, and you can see it in the plan, in the site plan.
Okay, and do you know where the 3D site model is? It's down the ways, I
It's
think. Okay, there you go.
A6, A7. It's not numbered.
Okay, David, I'm going to run out of real estate on the written part here in a second.
Okay.
At the first HLC hearing, reduction of proposed window panes was suggested. The applicant provided drawings comparing small versus large breakups of the window panes on the elevation at the second HLAC hearing. The proposed larger panes were well received. The applicant has retained the originally proposed window pane size. Gretchen, you want to talk to us about where that is, please?
Yeah, that's correct. What we did on the second time we appeared at HLAC, I drew drawings comparing, with all the elevations with smaller panes, and they agreed that the larger panes looked better than the smaller panes, and so we just stayed with that. Actually, to mention, all of the pane sizes in the existing windows, they're not regular at all.
Okay. We've seen this project, I think, now 3 times. Do people need to go through and take just a quick look at each page? Do we know about it? Do we have questions, please? Questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did HLAC have any, so zoom into that top elevation there, Dave, north elevation. What is that existing? Is that an existing wall there with
That's an existing elevation, and that's not changing at all.
Okay, all right. Then
That's this on the street.
yeah, okay. All right. That was my question. Thank you.
Claire, questions, please?
Yeah, actually, Dave, you can stay right where you are. I wanted to go down one picture down to the new proposed wood pergola. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking at. Does that pergola, can that pergola be made wider?
It could be.
Well, see, I find it's too, for me, it's too constraining. The posts are like right along. I mean, it just seems to me that it needs to be slightly wider rather than kind of squished in around the, what is going on here?
Okay, so Claire, your question has been answered. I think you're beginning to comment. Did you have
Okay.
another question, please?
No, that's my question. I was
Excellent.
asking if the pergola could be made wider. That was my question.
Excellent. Tip, do you have a
Oh,
question?
John,
Yes,
John?
please. Yes, please.
John, at the last meeting, I just wanted to direct you to the landscape plan, is that was what, that was a comment, and the landscape architect is here today also. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay, does he or she want to answer that question, please?
Well,
About the
Question was
pergola?
what? Sorry, this is Will with Arcadia Studio. I'm the landscape architect on the project.
Okay, there was a question about the width of the pergola.
I think we're a little constrained by the olive trees that we're proposing, but I think we can widen it a little bit, at least make the posts a little bit easier to navigate. But I think since they're away from the door, it's not going to be quite as constraining as it looks in the elevation there.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm not, okay. I'm the one that was asking the question, but fine, I'll wait till we're in questions. When we're into comments, you know.
and let me direct you also to the page after A6, which would be A7, that has the model on it. It also has a picture of the 3D picture of that trellis. That might help you see that.
Oh, okay.
So we're still in questions. Tip, do you have any questions, please?
No questions. Thank you.
Dave, Mandro?
No questions, John. Thanks.
Elida, please.
No questions, John.
And I don't think I have, a question about the beam ends here. Where did you get that shape from? And have you considered other ends for these trellis members, please?
I guess I got it from my memory of seeing things that were like that. I just wanted it to be soft. It was in response to just the softness that the HLAC was asking for. And I can consider others.
Okay, we're at preliminary, so, okay. Public comment, please. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 1097 Gulf Road? Anybody,
Nope.
please?
None
Okay,
for this item, John.
thank you very much, David. Okay, comments. Bill, back to you, please.
Yeah, I think generally I don't have any issue. I do agree with both the comments I think you and Claire made about the trellis, not to hammer on the trellis so bad, but yeah, it does seem like if it could be just a little wider and at least get the tail ends to match, the outriggers match the main beam would be a preference, and maybe something even, well, certainly complementary to each other, which I don't know if they're doing that right now, but the rest of the plan looks good to me. I think you've done a good job. That's all.
Claire, comments, please?
Yeah, well, back to the trellis, is that I think the trellis should be slightly wider than it is, so that the posts are kind of outside of the window edge, just slightly. Yeah. See, right now the posts are in front of the window. I'm proposing that it moves just slightly outside of the windows on either side, just to make it a little bit heftier, right?
Yeah,
there.
I get it. I got it.
Okay.
Anything else, Claire?
Nope, that's it. I just,
Excellent. Tip, do you have any further, any comments, please?
No, I agree with both Bills and Claire. Thank you.
Dave, please.
Yeah, I want to compliment the applicant for going through the process and going through a couple of rounds to get it right. And I think it looks great. And I agree with all the comments that have been made.
Elida, please.
Well, it's a great project. It's beautiful. Well done.
You know, I didn't give the landscape architect his full due. There is a plant book that I thought was extremely well done. I think that I'd like us to just have a little bit of visual something here. And I think you can go through it quickly, but I thought this was very well done.
Yeah, they had zones for style of planting. It's like a
Yeah.
lotus, like small lotus land.
yeah, the landscape plan was very, very well done.
And
Yeah.
I agree, and that's why I wanted to highlight this. Okay, so my comment is, I agree with Dave, I think, very nice, and everyone else. Very nice project. You're on for final. They don't have to come back to the full board, do they, please?
No, not,
Okay,
So, yeah.
so would somebody like to make a motion for preliminary approval back to consent, please?
Yeah, I'll move to give them preliminary approval for 97 Gulf Road and to return back for final on consent.
And with the trellis to be restudied?
Yes, with the trellis beam ends to be restudied and to match and to widen the post spacing to clear the edge of the door frame.
Gretchen, did you have something, please?
Yeah, there was one thing, I mean, in talking about the trellis, actually, we had originally proposed a very, very minimal steel trellis. And I think there was one member of HLAC that did not like that. I didn't get that from everyone. And I just wanted your take on that. I thought it would look very nice in this courtyard where it was just so simple. And unfortunately, it's not on these drawings. And this is in response, this trellis was in response to their comments. And
Bill?
My comment to that would be that it, you know, as we've said before, the devil's in the details when it comes to that. If it's
oh, I wish I had that
tube
photograph.
steel piece or, you know, tube steel frame, you know, maybe it's acceptable. Are you doing wide flange? I mean, I think we'd have to see the details to be.
Can
Yeah.
we present an alternate?
Can I put
Yes.
as consent? I mean, and if it's, yeah,
Yes,
I would like to
please.
do that since there's
Okay.
so much. discussion.
Please present
well, if we're,
one
if-
or two alternatives, only ones that you're willing to accept, and we'll chat about it and find something that works.
Okay.
Great.
Can I call
well,
you
then,
back?
then in fact, that changes the motion here.
Yes,
Correct? I mean, if, you know, because we can give it preliminary, but I'm not, if we're going to change the back to what they originally wanted, then they need to come back to the board, in my opinion, to show us that, rather
Okay.
than having final on consent.
okay, so Gretchen, what I understand, I'm gonna see from you, if this motion passes, you're gonna come back with a wood trellis, you're gonna expand out the trellis a little bit, and you're gonna propose 1, 2, or 3 tails to the ends of the beams, and that's it, correct?
Okay, yes, that's what I would have done with it on consent. But since there's all this work on the trellis, and actually the client, we were proposing a different kind of trellis that I'm saying, would you consider that since there's all this work? And I'm willing to just present the changes to the wood trellis as well as the original trellis with the detail.
Who's making that motion, please?
So the question is whether or not everybody's comfortable with the consent reviewers making the decision on the metal versus the wood.
No,
John,
I
is-
am not. No,
is
I am
that-
not.
John, is
Well-
that an issue with HLC? You know, if
Yeah,
they ask for a wood trellis, I think you'd have to go back to HLC then too.
Gretchen,
I
I
don't-
think to keep it simple, the KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid, is wood with several different beam ends. If you want to do something else, it's up to you, please.
Okay, all right, we'll just do the wood then.
Is everybody okay with that, with 1, 2, or 3 different alternatives on the way that they're dealing with the ends of the trellis? members?
Yes.
Yes.
On consent, everybody?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay, very good. Yeah, let's beat this one to death. Okay, so all those, was there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, excellent. All those in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thank you very much. We'll see you on
Thank you.
consent. Yeah.
All righty, thank you.
Item number
Thank you.
2, Tip has a conflict and will be stepping down. Please turn off your
Thank you.
mic. Please turn off your screen. And is it Chris or Drew? I'm not sure who.
Me, Drew, today, standing in for Chris.
Excellent. And we are still on for conceptual. Okay, so MBR expressed concerns requiring the disparity in design between existing residents and. Okay, these are actually comments from 2 meetings ago.
We should have more recent comments, I believe, from the November 17th agenda.
And as I remember, it said something on the order of concerned about the tennis court, bocce ball court, whatever we
Yeah,
call
the
it.
tennis court that we proposed, as part of that, there was a modification that we were, at the time, we were working through. Yeah, I don't know that those were, yeah, there should be an agenda or meeting minutes from the November 17th agenda.
Okay, but let me try to keep things moving here, please.
Sure.
My understanding when looking at the drawings this morning, you've done a fairly important reduction in the scope of work. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if I could explain this very briefly here. So, we reviewed the project at further conceptual in November. The comments were that the architecture, you'd appreciate the refinements that we had made in response to the previous comments, and that we could return for preliminary approval. And in the meantime, in order to reduce the amount of time in planning review and expedite construction, we've effectively broken the project into 2 phases. And so what we're presenting today is phase 1. So this only pertains to the scope of work to the existing main residence. So the design is the exact same that was presented in the previous meeting. We haven't changed any of the design or any of the layout. We're simply reducing the scope for this coastal permit to pertain only to the main residence.
Therefore, all of the comments about the modification go away because
Correct.
it's not part of the proposal. So can we?
But,
Yes, go ahead, Claire.
well, I wanted to ask though, John, it seemed to me from the second set of minutes that is the second comment in the second set of minutes. Is the bocce ball or the tennis court that's encroaching on the setback, is that in this package?
No, it's gone for this package. You'll see in a second. Drew?
Oh, okay. Well, that was good. I was going to ask to see the,
Mr. Mendro, can we get on to the drawings, please?
Yes, if we could skip ahead to, let's see, sheet number
Well,
six.
let's get to the drawings first.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay. So where would you like to go, Drew?
sheet 6 shows the proposed site plans. That should provide some clarity on the scope of work for this.
Perfect.
permit.
She,
Um,
do you know which PD was it? This one?
Nope.
These are the old drawings, actually.
Great.
Apologies.
No problem. I'd actually asked David to include those just in case you wanted to look at any of the renderings from the previous proposal, just for reference, but this is the correct set.
Great.
So you can see here highlighted in the red dashed line is the existing main residence. So this is our current scope of work for this project. So we're showing the rest of the site as existing. That phase 2 portion that we were showing as the addition and the landscape and the site work will all be under a separate permit.
Okay, so we have seen this project. We have basically blessed this project, except for the items they pulled out. Dave, if you'd like to just kind of quickly go through it. I think we've seen it. I think this is a relatively easy project at this point. We are still on concept, though.
I have a couple of quick questions while we're on
Well,
this.
hang on, we're not at questions quite yet. So are you, is this enough, Dave? Is that what you're thinking?
I went through the set. I'm at the end.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Drew, do you have anything more to say before we go into the next phase of the review, please?
Right, I believe at the previous meeting, we had also discussed greater clarity on some of the material finishes on the exterior. So on the elevations here at the top of the sheet, you can see we've called out the color palette for the exterior paint, the chimney caps there. We've provided a reference image to give you a better idea of what we're proposing. The exterior lighting specification there to be dark sky compliant. The re-roofing will match existing, so it's slate tile roof. And then the painting samples are there on the far right.
One more, please. Okay.
Yes, soft white finish on the exterior.
86. Huh?
Now, yeah. Now, yeah, and you would think that the applicant might know, but are there any more items you'd like to present to the board, please? Drew, anything more?
No, my presentation's done.
Okay, questions. Let's get started with Elida, please. Questions?
Is there a landscape plan at this point, or that's premature?
That will be under a separate permit. So this is only pertaining essentially to the footprint of the main residence.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, please.
I was just going to ask about that large skylight. Is that what that is? If you zoom into that elevation 1, Dave, is that flat glass? Is that what you're doing there? Assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the size of that?
That's a good question. I believe it's about, I'm going to say it's 7 by 4. We can look at it in the RCP if you want to have better clarity on that.
I just was curious. That's a large skylight. That was all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Claire.
We're in questions.
Questions, please.
So what the applicant is saying is that this application does not have a landscape plan. Is that correct? I mean,
Correct.
my question, there is no landscape plan at this point in time for today.
Correct.
Okay.
Dave, please.
No questions, John.
Just as a matter of this and that, at our site visit, the applicant pulled me off as chair and said, would you approve this, basically what they're proposing today on its own? And I said, no, there was too much. But it's very clear from the question that happened at that site visit and this, the owner wants to get out and get his building built, and then he will take the 6 months or a year to get everything else done. So that's not really a question, but that's just kind of a background information for everybody. The one question I have is, are you aware that the board almost never approves a color that is brighter than an LRV of 0.84, please?
No, but that can be adjusted easily. We can bring that down to something that's within a more sensible range.
Thank you. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 2, 1685 Fernald Point Lane?
No comments on this one.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, comments. They are clearly looking to rock and roll here and get through as quickly as they can. We are on for concept only. There is no motion. So let's, comments from Elida, please.
None.
Bill, please.
Yeah, I'm ready to give it concept review approval for sure. I don't have any problem with it.
Claire?
Per our guidelines, at least a landscape plan that denotes the screening along property lines. And I don't see any of that in this plan, so I will not be voting for this project.
Well, not today. There is no vote anyway, Claire. This is
Well,
concept only.
or whatever, moving forward, I don't care. I don't think, without at least a screening, a landscape plan that designates where the screening is on the property lines, for me, I'm not willing to vote for this project yet. Okay?
Dave?
Yes, I can support the project, but I agree with Claire that the screening for the property should be part of this approval.
Okay, and my comments are flat skylights need to have non-reflective glass. We have a lot of complaints from people about reflectivity. I believe it's in the ordinance that roofs are non-reflective. I would group skylights into that, so please, non-reflective glass only. LRV of 84 and provide a landscape plan. So I believe we can go preliminary final at the full board. What do people believe about that?
I agree, John.
I agree.
Okay, so let's, Claire?
Yeah, no, that's fine with me, as long as I see a landscape plan.
I love your singular focus there. Okay, Drew, thank you very much. There is no vote at concepts, so see you back here when you can. Tip is back on with us now. We are on item number 3, 435 Nicholas Lane, please. Let's get a site plan so people know where the heck we are down lower. Right.
Really? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes, I did see these plans. I know exactly where this is.
And we've seen a project or two on Nicholas. Okay, so is Amy with us today or somebody else, please?
I'm here. We also have our project, also have our owners, and we have the landscape architect too.
Okay, excellent. Amy, the floor is yours, please.
So our project's at 435 Nicholas Lane. What we're planning, first of all, the house is considerably higher than street level, and we have a topo plan on sheet 2, showing exactly where the location is. Basically, for the residents, we'd like to reorientate the front of the house to the other side with a entry cover. And we'd also like to do some window and door changes, and basically change the house from stucco finish to a board and bat, and with a standing seam metal roof. Actually, we're reducing the square footage in the back, and we're adding a little bit of square footage in the street facing. Also, part of our project is there was a 2-car garage attached to the existing residence, and if you look at the next page, page 4, the garage has already been converted into habitable space. So what we like to do is add a 3-car. We see where it says family den. That was a garage at some point, not our previous owners, but it was converted into habitable space. So there's no garage on the property right now. So we would like to propose building a 3-car garage with a storage space underneath, and that storage space would be for trash cans and other items. Let's see. I think that we're doing landscape and we're reconfiguring the driveway a bit to get to the new garage. We have 3 covered parking spaces and 1 uncovered parking space. And if you can see, if you look at existing residents facing Nicholas Lane, the picture in the top right, you can see the 2 adjacent 2 houses behind the property, and you can see how high they are. And so we don't feel like this is going to impact their view of the ocean or any kind of views in any way. I think that's pretty much my presentation, and I'd like to hand this over to Greg from as far as what he plans on doing with the landscape. And the landscape plan is at the last page of the sheet. And that one other thing is I showed the elevations existing and proposed of the house, and existing and proposed of the new 3-car garage with the storage area.
Greg?
Yeah, hi, this is Greg Mendonça. I'm a landscape architect on the project. So the landscaping that we are proposing for this project works to integrate the existing house with the new garage and create a courtyard entry into the new front door of the house, which is where that covered porch is. And reorienting the driveway to accommodate the uncovered parking spot, which is shown there where the car is. And so really focusing on integrating these 2 structures together, and landscaping as it'll tie in and screen views from the road. The larger trees on that site are all existing. So there is a pretty good cover along the driveway, and there's existing hedge to the property to the north, and also along the street frontage on the south side of the property.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, questions? Claire, please, we are on for concept on this project.
So back to the landscape architect, all the large circles in your drawing, those are all existing.
That is correct.
And so far you haven't added any other, are you proposing any other trees on the project?
There is a small tree in the courtyard, which is kind of a teal blue. And that'll be something of a small scale, possibly like a smoke tree or a Japanese maple, something like that, to accent that courtyard.
Okay, thank you.
Chip, please, question?
I have no question. Thank you.
Dave?
No questions, John.
Elida?
I'm not clear on what's reorienting the house means.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was reorienting the front entrance. It wasn't the house. The house is staying exactly the same. Right now the entrance is facing the street, that little hatched area correct there. And now we're putting the entry back here with a covered entry back here.
Okay, and what's this planned surface for the the patio courtyard area?
Greg?
Yeah, so coming off the driveway there, the driveway will be a concrete surface, and we'll have flagstone in that courtyard, and kind of a natural edge flagstone.
So the pathway, the symbols, the pathway from the driveway area in there, it looks like a hatched flagstone. It's different from the other symbol, but it's all flag?
Yes, we're looking at flagstone for the surfaces in that courtyard.
Okay, thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, zoom out a little bit, Dave. Well, first of all, did you have a FAR somewhere on here?
We did not have an FAR. Our planner didn't ask for that, but I did run it, and our lot size is 0.99 acres. So that's a gross of 43,124. Our house will end up being a 2318. Our 3-car garage with the storage area will be 1,104, and that means our grand total of buildable would be 3,422, and that is that's very low to the size of the lot.
Okay. And then zoom just a little further down, right in front of the existing entry there, you have showed gravel. Is that's not accessible by car in any way? It looks like you have a little walking path there with stepstones. Is that just going to stay gravel as it is now? See existing gravel parking. It looks, as it say, paving to remain.
Yeah, there's an existing gravel patio that extends around that south side of the house.
And there's no plants or anything, and it's just kind of an empty gravel spot.
Yeah, currently it's just open gravel. There's some chairs and tables out there. It's kind of embracing the view.
Right, you can see that on the photos. If you back up on that photo sheet there, you can see what's going on in the front, the existing. Yeah, right there.
And it's not meant for parking on. Yeah, got it. Okay, it's just a little patio. Okay, that was all I had. Thanks.
I have a question for Kimberly. Are you there?
I am.
Their elevations, which we really haven't spent any time on, have an integral ADU hooked in with them, I believe. And if that's true, how do we review this? Do we ask, with other applicants, we've asked them to completely remove that item, the ADU, since we can't review it? Or if it's part of this project, do we count that as part of the FAR, even though it's not under our design purview, please?
I would have to look at the language of the ordinance. I don't believe that the ADU square footage is calculated in the FAR calculations.
It is. If it's there on the site and existing, it is, but, so Amy, I guess the question is are you intending on building the FAU at the same time? Because some of the elevations clearly showed the FAR, showed it, and therefore you don't have to build the roof and tear the roof off.
So my understanding is what we're doing is we're asking for the 3-car garage. I put the ADU on and I hatched over it saying that it wasn't part of this, but we would love to do the ADU with this, but I was under the impression we weren't allowed to do that with this project. So
okay, thank you, that's good. Okay, so yes, please.
All we have, John, where is the AD on this, what we have in the front of our
In
screen?
the upper right-hand side, it says new garage, etc. On top of that is they are proposing an ADU.
Oh, got it. Okay, that's why I didn't see it written down anywhere.
It's on some other drawings earlier on. Okay. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 3? Let me get the address. It's on the other page. 435 Nicholas Lane, please.
We don't have any hands on this one, John.
Excellent. Okay, so now let's have board member comments, same order. Claire, please. Comments?
Okay, so let me just, well, I'm gonna ask a question here, but I think I just got it answered. Is that what we're seeing right now in front of us, Dave, is the garage and what the mystery ADU, which we're not supposed to do. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
That's where I saw
perfect.
it.
Okay, so there we're on comments now?
Yes, please.
A comment and question, are in the drawing or the photograph that you showed of the front yard, which has a lot of gravel in it, are all the existing plant materials going to remain on this project? Like all the citrus that line out in front of the front of the house? those all going away, or we're going to see a completely new landscape plan when you come back?
I think what we're looking at is with the redesign or redo of the windows and the doors. Yeah, those plantings that are existing within, say, the 10-foot perimeter of the existing single-family residence will have to be removed during construction, will be replaced with new plantings.
Okay, yeah, okay, so for me then, I mean, for me, the building looks great, and when you return, I'd like to see a landscape plan.
Yeah, with preliminary, I think, right now we're just trying to get the go-ahead to go with this concept. And when we come back for preliminary, we'll again show that perimeter buffer that goes around our limit of
Well, I
development.
want to see also the whole landscape plan, what's going to happen to this the whole site. It's not just not the perimeter, but I want to see a landscape plan of how this building is going to settle into the hillside, how it's going to settle into, because so far you haven't showed us that. You've shown a little landscape plan for the back of the building, but you haven't showed what's going to happen to the front, taking some trees out, putting new trees in. That's what I want to see when you come back. Okay?
Yeah, comments?
I don't have any comments, John. I think the project is fine the way we have it. Thank you.
Dave?
Yeah, one question is, normally on a project that has 2 stories, we would request story pools. But since this is the ADU, is this exempt from that?
I would think so.
Okay, then pending confirmation of the FAR and actually seeing that accurately calculated, I can support the project moving forward.
Elida?
I definitely agree with Claire about seeing a landscape plan on this project. And also the upgrade to the building aesthetic is going to be a wonderful improvement on the whole project. So good for you.
Somebody has a radio or TV on. Could you please turn that off? Bill, please.
Yeah, I would like to see the FAR calculation. I think generally I'm fine with the addition. I do have a question for Kimberly. I should have asked this earlier, but I know that we've run into this before, at least personally I have, but if this is the front setback line, can you build on top of and exceed the 16 feet with an ADU when you're within that setback? Or does that have to pull back completely out of that? When you're trying to put a 16-foot on top of a garage, obviously it makes it taller than 16. Is that okay in this particular case? Because it's behind.
Bill, how many times have I gotten this question wrong with you?
I know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think the planner is going to need to look at that, because I do believe Montecito's land use and development code has a cap on the overall height of the structure, including a stack structure with an ADU. So I think that's a question that needs to be researched.
Yeah, so it may not be allowed on top of the garage. In other words, is what we're saying.
Correct. Just piecing together other projects, et cetera, et cetera. Again, the planner is going to need to look directly at the language of the code.
Yeah, well, whatever she finds out, share it with the rest of us, because I don't.
Can I make a comment on that? The front yard setback is the 50 feet from the center line of the road to center line, and I have that marked on the plans, on the site plan. And then we have the 20 feet from the easement right of way. So that, again, that's our front, and you can see where that line is. We're not in that front yard setback. And then if you look at the back, we have the 10 feet from the property line. We went through this with the planner, and we've talked to him about the height and everything. And up to this point, there's been no question that what we're doing is fine. I'm not sure if something changed here, but again, we've been through this with the planner. We've showed him what the ADU is gonna look like and the height. And I'm not sure, because again, some of this garage is gonna be dug into, if you look at the elevations, that it's dug into the site. Again, we did not have any, we've not had anything up to this point saying that we cannot do what we're asking. And this being brought up now has not been brought up by our planner, and our planner has seen this project with the ADU up to this point. So I'm a little concerned why this is being brought up now.
Well, I've run into that myself, Amy, and I'm gonna leave it to the planner to decide that, so.
I'll reach out to the planner directly. As
Yeah,
everyone knows, ADU and state law is a constantly changing experience, and it's pretty complicated.
Yeah, I've run into this myself as a problem. So just a heads up, don't want you to get too far down the line and find out you can't do it, so.
Okay, and then just going back to this this one that's up now, the ADU would be at grade level in the back. You know, if you look at the south elevation, it is at grade level in the back.
I would
but
like
if you-
to remind everybody that ADUs are not part of our
Okay, I'm
review.
sorry.
And so,
I'm
you
just
know,
pointing
I
out.
want to stop the discussion on the ADU so we do not violate state law, please.
Okay,
This
I'm
is an
sorry.
issue that needs to be discussed outside the context of this meeting, please.
Okay.
Okay, Bill, got anything else, please?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, my comments, number one, we have had neighbors that have had standing seam roofs put on properties next to them. There are some that are, the roof material itself is extremely reflective, and others that reflects almost nothing. We will be looking for one of those materials that reflects almost no light. And I would like to make sure that we have a clear understanding from the planner. So Kimberly, if you can make sure whether or not they should show us only plans without the ADU, if there's a way to integrate it and not have our review, et cetera. So could you clarify that or have the planner clarify it when that comes?
I will.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is on for concept. There is no vote. Thank you very much. Good luck with all that. Okay, item number 4. So
John, did you want that coming back? I'm sorry, I heard preliminary at one point. Is that?
I think it's back for preliminary. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, no, that's fine, but yeah.
You know, however it works out with the ADU, back for preliminary.
Can we
Okay,
do
thank you.
preliminary final?
No. There's too many questions out there, please.
Okay.
We'll get you on to final at the next consent if you're all ready to go, okay? Okay, item number 4 is 539 Periwinkle. Sophie Calvin is the agent. For those that did not get a chance to review the packet, there are some neighbors that have some concerns here. And so it's a historical structure. They did some things to it that maybe that they should or should not have. It's not, you know, so we will get that all sorted out one way or the other, but this is not as quick an item as you might think for a small project. Okay, so there are comment letters in HCAL memo. Let me start with this memo, please, and then we'll get on to the comment letters after Sophie has had a chance to make her presentation. The project was heard by the HLAC on September 14th. After consideration of the Phase 1-2 historical report, the project plan dated May 18th, 2021, and the applicant's presentation, the ALAC offers the following comments on the project for MBAR's consideration. 1, HLAC is disappointed the applicant replaced the shingle roof with a metal standing seam roof without HLAC's or MBAR's private review. And I think we're going to find they went and got over-the-counter permit for that. HLAC strongly supports the recommendations for the project contained in section 6.3, application of the standards of a phase 1 historical report, which would ensure the project is carried out consistent with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehab. Again, for those that didn't have a chance to review it, this was a Moody cottage. It's been going through some big changes here. So, having said that, Sophie, I think you can fill in some details. Are you here, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, so the Moody cottage that's there currently is just about 770 square feet. And yes, before, well, they purchased the house, and one of the first things he did immediately was put on a standing seam metal roof.
Hi, Sophie. Would you like for me to talk first?
Sure. That's Richard Seiberg, the owner. Can you hear me, Richard?
Richard, we did hear you, and now it's blank. So can't hear you.
Richard?
Yes, hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this and see if it picks up on my phone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. So, yeah, just a little quick background. We went and got a permit for the roof, for a roof permit for the standing seam metal roof. Well, overall, I just wanted to say, yes, it seems like there's a lot of architectural changes and a lot of history and drama amongst the
Richard, you are dropping in and out. Is it possible to turn off your mic, call in, and David, can you help get him on board? It's patchy.
Clearer now?
It's patchy. Can you just call in, disconnect your audio, please? And Sophie, maybe you could take over?
Yeah. Put on. Yeah, go ahead. It is in place now. I think it was.
No,
It's patchy, Richard, please.
it's cutting in and out.
Sophie, can you take over the whole presentation, or did you need him to be part of it?
No, that's
please?
fine. Can we go to the next page, the site plan?
Richard, I recommend that you call in on your phone and disconnect your.
Yes, that's clearer now. I can hear you, Richard. I think he's frozen.
Okay, hopefully.
Okay, so on the plan that we have, A2 that's open now, we show the existing site plan on the right of the page showing what that footprint is of the residence. It's this is the original. It's a 1-bedroom entry, bathroom, closet, and then the kitchen closer to Periwinkle Lane. And then what was at the time a laundry room, that little area up that side. Now, if you look on the left side of the page, the proposed site plan, what was the laundry room became a bathroom and another little bedroom. These are all the blue colored. Thank you. So there's the bathroom, there's a bedroom, and then the kitchen was remodeled, the island was added, the laundry room became off the front entry. The bedroom stayed the same, and then just a remodel of this bathroom. It was already existing bathroom. They just upgraded the fixtures. On the next page.
Well, Sophie, you also have a carport and garage on the right-hand side. Can you please describe that, please?
Correct. So the carport here we have documents showing how old they are and how long they've been there. And what the clients want is to convert the garage carport possibly into an ADU. Really, today, we're here to focus in on the house. There's not a definitive answer as to where we're gonna go with this ADU or not. Just so you know, it's a possibility that it could be an ADU. And I read the neighbors' notes about their comments about regarding this, to have a second resident on the parcel, and that they have a concern regarding that.
But it also has to do with existing parking versus, you know, maintaining parking, et cetera. So can you just be very clear, how much parking do you have now and how much are you gonna end up with, please?
Thank
Okay.
you, Ron.
You can notice in the front that there's an asphalt parked area, but that is inside the front setback. So we cannot, you see the front setback goes all the way through the house.
Mhm.
So no parking in front, right? So we come down the driveway and there are 2 parking spaces available there, asphalt parking next to what is the carport and garage. And we're gonna try and place another parking space that, to make the car maneuverable to get, you know, in and out easily. So we're thinking we can get 3 car parked, uncovered parking.
Well,
Okay, you haven't, there is controversy, let's get it clear to the board. Can we look to the drawing, the existing drawing, Dave, please? Over to the right. How many parking spaces do you have that are permitted? The carport, garage, whatever, how many do you have now, please?
If this was to stay a garage and carport, there would be 2 cars in there, and then you see where I have marked 16.5 by 8.5 guest parking.
So on the site now, you have 2 covered and 1 uncovered, is that correct? Is that what you're?
Correct.
Okay, so, very good, thank you. Now, please go ahead. Doesn't matter about the ADU, you're gonna have to come back with 2 and 1, I believe, we can ask the planner. Go ahead.
I don't know what you mean by 2 and 1.
2 covered,
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
1 uncovered. I
Yeah,
believe,
okay.
I think you have to retain your parking, I'm not positive. Can you please go on and make the presentation, please?
Please, next page. So the roof lines, pretty much stayed the same. There was just this the area, next to the kitchen. That roof got elevated a little bit because there was a big picture window there, and they made it into a pair of French doors. So they did a shed roof and created a little bit more room to get a normal size height of a French door.
Okay, next, please.
So the house is board and batten. We definitely kept that. It is a historic, you know, post-hazel times report. She, you know, reviewed all of these plans, and let's go on to the next page.
And propose?
This is the as-built. This is how they bought the house. Next page. Next page.
No,
You want to go back?
well, proposed elevations, please.
Could you go back 1 page? We just have photos.
That's fine. It's just we were rushing a little bit. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Okay, we can go 2 pages down. Yep. Sections. Go on window schedule. Part of the arborist report, we had Ken Knight out there, about the oak tree in the back. He felt that that tree's been there a very long time, even though there is some paved areas. Most of the roots are probably on the neighboring properties, and the house, and that oak tree is in good condition. Next page.
I think that's the last page.
So are you done now?
I'm done now.
Yeah, questions now. We're gonna get to comment letters after our questions. So, and any public comment, if you're attending the meeting, we'll do it after the members' questions. Bill, please, questions?
I'm gonna ask one that you may have already identified. Did you decide you're not doing the standing seam and you're gonna go back to a composite of some sort or some?
No, it's already done.
Oh, it's
The metal roof is already installed. It was one of
Oh,
the first things installed.
oh, it's installed.
They went and got over-the-counter permit and rocked and rolled.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. That was the only question I had.
Dave, please.
Yeah, what did the historic report recommend relative to what you're proposing?
You mean the standing seam metal roof?
No, there was.
I mean, the whole report. There's a 50-page report, and
this is Katie Nallen, the planner. I have the report in front of me. So basically what had happened was they replaced the roof with the standing seam metal roof, and that was carried out with a permit. So that's technically considered existing conditions, and that's something that the report incorporated. And so the report recommended 3 items for you guys to review. One is to replace the the replaced board and batten siding. It should match the material and appearance of the Moody Cottage. The replacement windows should also match the appearance of the house's historic window types in terms of their appearance and their glazing. And then finally, it said that they should consider revising the water heater door to incorporate that board and batten siding.
Say that again.
So any replacement board and batten siding should match the original. The windows should also match the original in terms of its appearance and glazing. And then you should also consider revising the water heater door to also incorporate board and batten siding.
thanks. So Sophie, is this new work you're proposing, or has this work already been done too, like the roof?
The door leading into the water heater doesn't look like it has the board and batten on it. So we could definitely do that to be consistent and cohesive with the rest of the exterior. The other thing, I did have a conversation with Post Hazeltine, and we really did take a look at all the windows that were there and the size of the panes. Were they horizontal? Were they vertical? Were they of the same proportion? And that's what we incorporated into these drawings.
So all the work's been done. We're looking right now, everything you're proposing has already been done.
I haven't been to the site for a while. I don't know if Richard's still on. I know that they're living in it.
No, I'm here. Yeah, you guys, can I talk for a second?
Let's finish the questions and then we can get you.
Okay.
It seems like a pretty simple
Kind of relates
question, to answer.
No, I have a simple answer, but I want to weigh in quickly. So just in regards to the Post Hazeltine historic report, one thing, there's been a couple remodels. You can see that originally it was just like a gabled art studio. And then they added, at one point in time, they added this, you can see in the upper right-hand part of the upper right elevation, that whole portion was added on. I think the structure to the left was also added on. And they had, they thought that not consistent with a Moody sister house were the window shapes where they came up at an angle. So in our proposed plan, we have eliminated the angled windows and gone with the light pane breakup similar to what you would have found in that era. So we are and have not done any of the windows on Sophie's plan. all of the windows, I think there's a total of 8 windows that are proposed. The one to the left, there's an image to the left. They asked that we save that window to kind of maintain the historic reverence. But the other windows are proposed. And I just wanted to say one comment. So just understand in this little cottage, there's probably a 6-foot plate height. So you can imagine how difficult it is to see out any windows or to have any functioning doors. So that was the reason for the plate line change on the French doors that went to the outside. The house had basically access to the front and kind of out this back little door, but there was no way to access the yard. So breaking the plate line allowed us to have a normal sized door. And again, we were trying to do it consistently with, within the era. So we're trying to take it actually back to more of a bit of a reverence towards the era of the Moody sister, although the standing metal seam, which was permitted, has not been greatly received, and it does make it a little more modern.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try to keep this meeting as tight as we can. Are you done there, please?
No, I'd like Sophie to just, it's very hard for us to review this project with things that are existing and proposed. What you proposing is post Hazeltine supporting?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what's shown here on the elevations in red.
The red are what was existing, and we're replacing them with the French door. And
So this is showing what you're proposing to comply with the historian's recommendations.
Correct.
Thanks.
Except for the board and bat on the water heater.
That will be changed.
Claire? Questions?
I have no questions.
Tip, questions?
Well, I have a lot of questions, but as Dave mentioned it, I'm very confused about what's in, what's out. Richard mentioned that you're saving some windows that not shown correctly on Sophie drawings, and so it's very difficult for me to fully understand the scope of what's.
That sounds more like a comment rather than a question, please.
I'm trying to ask questions, and I'm not sure what question to ask. So my question is, I don't know what you ask. Thank you.
Elida, please.
John, can we go back? I mean, Dave, can we go back to the site plan, please? And Dave, if you will show me where the driveway entry is, I can't, on the proposed site plan, I can't see where a car pulls in. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect, thank you. And Sophie, I didn't hear what you said about the oak. You made comment about the existing oak.
Yeah, so down on the lower section of that plan, there to the right of that in that corner is a large oak tree. And we did have Ken Knight over to look at it. And he thinks that most of the roots are probably on the neighbor to the west and the neighbor to the south. And that it's in good health, and he didn't really think anything needed to be done for the oak tree.
Oh, good news. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Tip's got this. May I finish, please? I think Tip has got this very clearly stated that he's completely confused. And I am too. And my question as a result of that, Sophie and Richard, and then the board, should we have a site visit and really, Sophie, you bring out the plans, we really go over everything so we understand it. We get the historical report, we understand it. What would you be willing to have us come and visit your property? That's the question.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean,
Sophie,
in essence, it's
Sophie, are you willing?
Absolutely.
And
And I can
members of
get
the
you
board,
you want
yes?
me to get you the plans and the arborist report, and the historical report, sorry, to all the board members?
Yeah, I think this is going to take a little while to unravel, I think. So, and members of the board, do we want the question, do we want to go on out and visit this property to try to get it cleaned up in our brain as to what's going on?
Yes,
or
I
no,
do.
please?
Yes, I do.
Anybody else?
Yeah, it's fine with me. I actually have worked on this property about 30 years ago, so
Dave?
I know
Dave?
what's going on, but I'll be happy to do a site visit.
Dave? Yes?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in this presentation. I think this could have been done in a much clearer way so we could understand it.
Okay.
I'm not
Elida,
sure
yes.
why we're going to the site to figure that out, other than because they didn't do the presentation correctly. But I'll leave that up to the board.
Okay. Okay, so that now.
I mean, you can save, sorry.
So
I was
that's
just saying,
my
if you go in-
question. Go ahead, Richard, please.
Oh, I was going to say that if we look at any one of the elevations closely, you can see where she shows existing windows and what a proposed change is. So it is all there, and it is very clear. It just takes a minute, elevation by elevation, to look through it.
Okay.
But I'm happy to do a site visit if it makes everybody's life have a clearer understanding.
Okay. Now, there are at least 2 comment letters, I think. Dave, do you have those, please?
Yeah.
And Sophie, I have the other question I want to ask you right now. I think you need to get parking figured out. I think you need to get whether or not, how that parking's going to work with the proposal that you have and any future proposal that you have in mind. So let me just put it that way. So this is, I'm going to read these, please. Can you use what I have sent as a submission to MBAR? I'll co-sign the letter being drafted by other neighbors.
There is a letter by the neighbors.
Yeah, I think
I
that
wasn't sure how this.
okay.
I think if we read the neighbors' joint letter, we won't need to read all these other ones, John. I read all of them. So,
Yeah, I read them all too.
yeah. So I think going with this one first really is more, rather than the one we kind of breaks it up to sentences and you can't figure out what he's trying to say.
Okay. Please bear with me. I don't know how to summarize this, so I am going to read it. We are a collection of concerned neighbors of the above noted project. The project is located on Periwinkle Lane, a private street which, along with Rosemary Lane, is one of the 2 streets most well known in Montecito for its historic collection of Moody sister homes. We, the neighbors who live on and around Periwinkle Lane, very much value the architectural integrity of our street and take care to try to preserve its important place in Montecito's architectural history. We ask that the MBAR consider our input and concerns about this important property, one of the street's treasured Moody cottages at 539 Periwinkle. Neighbors offer some brief history as follows. Significant construction both inside and outside this home was done now and is now completed without approved permits or, of course, before MBA review. Work continued even after being red tagged. The primary building project could be considered, at least on its surface, substantially complete and has been occupied. It took a series of calls from multiple parties to try to gain the attention of the appropriate oversight to the process. The work seemingly included altering multiple roofs, moving walls, changing electrical and other utilities, as well as digging numerous trenches around the property, including to its carport and utility room. The neighbors remain concerned, have remained concerned for a long time, both for the architectural integrity of the home, but also the safety of its construction. Work often continues long after allowed building hours and on weekends. B, the long disregard of the rules, the lack of permits, and the curiously granted over-the-counter roof permit, very much not in keeping with the moody character, have all understandably informed and heightened the concern of the neighbors about this important historic home. C, the home at 539 Periwinkle sits on a very central and prominent location on Periwinkle Lane, with one Moody cottage immediately to the right and two immediately to the left, as well as others across the street. Another across the street. With respect to noticing, aside from the notice about MBAR, none of the neighbors noted below or others we spoke with recall getting a formal mail notification regarding the LUP notice, allegedly sent out to all the properties within 300 feet, perhaps due to the change in planners or some other reason. We were not noticed about HLAC and only heard about it by chance. Since the construction began, the neighbors have been very involved and looking and asking for information about the project, and each feel they would recall getting such a long-awaited LUP notice. Given this issue, the length of time this project has lagged on, and the potential time between MBAR hearings, we respectfully request this project to be re-noticed prior to any action by the planner to the approved project. Let me just say right now, that will not happen. This is the only notice you're going to get. So notice, neighbors wish, at least to the MBAR, neighbors wish to respectfully offer 4 architectural observations and concerns as follows. May I enlist someone else's, Bill, Dave, somebody, please, to read a paragraph or two?
Sure. So
Thanks.
did you leave off on there?
Right at the top, number 1.
Okay. Having reviewed the proposed project plans, it appears there may be inaccuracies on the front facade at the front roof line of the home and with the roof being behind said area. We respectfully bring these conditions to the planners and MBAR for further consideration, both architecturally and from a matter of structural integrity, life safety. If the conditions on the facade and roof plan are actually different than shown on the drawings, it appears worthy of possible further review. In addition, and possibly worth of note, it appears that trees have been shown on the elevations where there are no trees and seemingly placed on the drawings where the existing and build conditions appear to be vary in accuracy. The neighbors ask MBAR to review the new black metal standing seam roof, which we strongly feel is not in keeping with the character of the Moody sister cottage. We also express our concerns to HLAC. A few neighbors were ultimately able to attend on September 4, 2021, who strongly question how this happened. We believe that the OTC permit, over-the-counter permit, should never have been requested by these owners, nor seemingly granted for an important and historical house such as this. Further, the new black metal roof was installed during a time that major unpermitted modifications and structural changes were ongoing, all without appropriate oversight for code compliance and safety. Even more concerning now is if it's discovered that an additional roof was modified without disclosure.
Bill, I'll take over. Thank you. The neighbors ask MBR to explore if there are any other ways to provide egress for the newly constructed bedroom in the front of the home, rather than changing the proportions and placement of the existing window. In addition, we suggest the front elevation in question is vaguely represented as to the actual shape and does not correctly describe how the new windows will sit within this part of the facade. If this new egress window is approved without further review, we believe it will have a negative impact on the front facade of this home. 4, the neighbors ask MBAR to consider at least suggestions, if not requiring the use of soft pastel color paint for the home, often used by the Moody sisters. It appears that altogether with the very stark black sanding seam roof, there was a conscious decision to present this home as a now trendy, modern farmhouse aesthetic rather than keeping and honoring the rare and treasured whimsical English country design of the famed Moody Sister cottages. They have several windows, several photographs, and I think we will take care of that if that's okay with everybody on a site visit. So, final observations and concern. While the neighbors understand that it may not be within the purview of MBAR to comment on the proposed ADU, we do plan to separately address aspects of the ADU with the planner. We do, however, here at this MBR wish to point out yet another seemingly inaccurate description on the drawings of the rear existing structure as having a garage and enclosed structure. The original plans, the existing conditions, and photos all clearly indicate that there is not now, nor has there ever been, a garage on the property, but rather a carport and a utility room. It is very clear, so the neighbors question why there would be notations about having a garage when there is no garage. We highlight this additional inaccuracy for reasons that may be relevant by the owners for seeking approval of the proposed ADU conversion directly at on the rear property line. The neighbors respectfully raise an awareness of our concerns to MBAR and our planners for the lack of a setback, including the associated fire implications between properties. Okay, so that's one set of comments. Is there anybody attending this meeting that would like to comment about this project, please?
Are you talking about public comment?
Public comment.
Yeah, we have 4 speakers.
Okay.
So I know they've been waiting very patiently.
Please
Let's
keep
start
it
with
brief.
I'm sorry?
Please keep it brief. Yes, go ahead.
We'll start with William Babbitt.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
So I am the author of the letter on behalf of the neighbors. In full disclosure, I live next door to the property. I practiced for a long time as a licensed architect. I'm very familiar with the house. I've been inside the house. I agree with the comments that the drawings are confusing. I think we've articulated that in our letter. I'm confused to hear Sophie say that there's a garage on the property when, if you look at the site plan, it says carport and utility room. And if you look at the photographs, it also says that. The post Hazeltine, a couple of other things. I mean, thank you for reading the letter, but I'm trying to be brief. The post Hazeltine report, I think, might have been on another set of drawings, and the drawings have evolved since the project's been going on for more than 2 years. I just wish to address Richard's comment, the owner's comment, that there were low or doors that you couldn't get out in and out of. This was a fully functioning 1-bedroom home. We knew the prior owner's name was Albert. We've been in the home. Most of the neighbors have been in the home. And this was a fully functioning 1-bedroom home. It was a modestly built home, but the desire to make it a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home is what has caused a lot of the challenges. And the neighbors have been very, very outspoken with the planning department, the 2 planners that have been involved on the project. And we really appreciate MBAR taking the time to review the project. We concur that the drawings are very confusing and would ask, I'm not sure that a site visit is necessary, but if one is necessary, I think that several representatives from the neighborhood would like to attend.
Thank you. Next person, please.
So our next speaker will be Jeffrey Gray.
I'm just here to attend and support Bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker will be Mitchell Kaufman.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you for your comments and your care about this property. You know, I'd like to echo some of what was said. You know, this was a very sweet Moody Sisters cottage, a row of Moody Sisters houses. One look at it and you see that it no longer appears that way. And it's been a struggle to try to get candid information from the owners about what they're doing, what their plans are. And I would just reiterate that work, there's been utility trenches to the back property, which have been a concern. And there's been unpermitted work. And in fact, there was a red tag that the owners ignored, and they subsequently had a second red tag. And so one's got to look very cautiously at these drawings and the claims by the owner. And I appreciate your skepticism, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. And last speaker, please.
Last speaker will be Robert Thornton.
Robert, I cannot hear you.
I don't have any further comments to Mr. Babbage.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna, anybody else, please?
I think that that was our last speaker.
David, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna close public comment. Now, members of the board, comments. I think at least several of us have expressed a need for a site visit. So if you were to comment, I'd like to hold off any comments till I go to the site visit. That I would certainly understand that. So in the order that we went before, Bill? Bill Wolf?
Everybody went home.
Yeah. Okay, next, I'll pick up Bill at the end. Dave, please.
Yeah, I would just encourage the applicants to clarify their presentation when we visit the site. Explain to us what the historian is requiring and what they're doing to meet those requirements so that we can really efficiently assess what's going on here. That's my comment for now.
Thank you. Claire, please.
I agree with what Dave has just said, but then in the question of all of these, the confusion here is that asking Sophie to sort of clean up your graphics so that we can potentially figure out what's going on. And I think I think the confusion mostly is in the elevations. I mean, I can see the floor plans here. I can see that, and I can understand. Now I can understand what this whole garage thing was all about. But it had to do with the elevations. I think it took me a while to figure out where the red was and where the black and white was on those elevations, and that's what I think they're not readable for us, separating what was already done, what's all the new, what's proposed, what all of that. So other than that, and I'll show up for the site visit, although I don't know that it's necessary for me, but certainly it's okay to have a site visit, and I'll be there when it happens.
Thank you, Claire. Chip, please.
Yeah, I have nothing further to add to this. Thank you.
Alida, please.
I feel that the site visit will help everybody involved on this project, the neighbors, the owners, Sophie, all of us. I think it will be worthwhile.
Yeah, my comment, I guess, is to Katie, as well as the applicants. There are requirements in the zoning code for parking. It appears that there was at least one space and other spaces. I think that before we get there, before a site visit is scheduled, please get the parking figured out, because without, it used to be form followed function in college. Then it was form follows parking. And, let's figure out what's there, what was permitted, how many spaces they have, how they are retaining the spaces they have. And then when we get out there, we can try to figure out about the windows and the roof elements, things like that, and try to get a hands-on. Now, a note to the neighbors: you will not receive a notice of this. You can contact David Villalobos, get on our mailing list and emailing list, and you will be emailed every agenda from now on. And including our site visit will be on that. And it's your responsibility to monitor that and to come on out. Oftentimes when we have story polls, you'll see the flags. There will be no flags this time. So it is always at 9 a.m. on a Thursday morning. And so just keep your eyes open, and we'd love to see you. You do have permission to enter the property along with us if it's a publicly noticed site visit, but, you know, of course, be respectful and things like that. So I don't think we have anything more to say. Katie, please, you know, work out everything you can, and we'll go from there. David, did I hear from you?
John, I had a comment.
Bill, yes, please.
It sounded like, you know, originally I thought that I understood what was going on, and then after listening to the letters and reading the letters, I got more confused about it. Do we need to have an update from Post Hazeltine saying that they've reviewed now this new plan, or in fact, have they reviewed this new plan? Are they, you know, are they up to date with what is latest and greatest, or was that because there was some mention of that Post Hazeltine report being older on another older plan, yada, yada, yada. So
this is Richard speaking. These plans were what was presented to Post Hazeltine. The plans have not changed. They've always been the same. There will be allegations all the way along that we are deceptive, that we are doing everything we can to shell game. There's none of that going on. This is plain and simple. At this point, we just want to be able to add some windows and approve what we have already done. We apologize for this inconvenience to the neighborhood and interpreted, you know, I don't know. It's just it's kind of a sad deal to be living in this neighborhood with all this opposition. But I think when you come to see the property, you'll see that it is in fact going to. It's already great, and by doing everything in reverence to historic thought, and they already weighed in on we changed a couple of the windows and the pane breakup to satisfy the historical.
all right, thank
Okay,
you.
excellent. Anything else? Can we close this one up?
Yes.
This is Katie Nall, the planner. I just wanted to address parking really quick.
Yes.
So this is inland in Montecito, because the ADU would be completely within an existing and permitted structure. Parking spaces, including replacement parking spaces, are not required. So they do not have to replace their parking.
That's right.
That is state law.
Yeah.
They consider a carport a structure in that?
Yes, so they do consider the carport a structure. I agree the designation of garage is a little bit confusing. That's on our initial feedback letter. It is permitted as a utility room. That's not necessarily an impact for the proposal, but that structure was permitted.
Thank you, Katie. More bad news from Sacramento. Okay, not that I have a comment. Okay, so thank you all. Item number 4 is now complete. We are on for concept. There is no vote. So item number 5, please. 1260 Channel Drive, the Biltmore. They want to change a patio. And is there anybody here from Appleton that would like to chat with us, please?
Yes, can you see us?
Not yet. Oh, yes, I can.
There you go. It's
Okay,
Steve.
so would you mind if we read the HLAC comments and you guide us on the plans where that is, so we can kind of speed that up a little bit? So again, can we split the screen on this, Dave?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me,
I can simplify it. Appleton was hired. They designed a patio that is more rectilinear than the existing patio. They went to HLAC. they said, hey, guys, can't we keep it nice and soft? And so we're going to be chatting about that issue today. So,
And you know what I could do, John, is I could read the comments and then comment on them if you don't want to have the.
oh, that's fine too, but let's get both of them up at the same time, so we don't have to repeat it.
Okay, all right.
And before, John,
Yes.
right now we've just got just a small drawing of the patio area. Dave, can you pull up a kind of a bigger site plan that shows where this exists on the property?
Yeah, I mean, page 2, and I agree. I mean, the HLAC comments were kind of suggestions, and we had Alex there at the time. It might be better to just kind of present the project and then go through their comments, if you don't mind, John.
Let me just preface it. Their big concern was, hey guys, it was nice and soft, now it's hard. So we can go through the specifics, but yes, please, Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Alex couldn't make our meeting today. And I do agree with you that their comments kind of seem exactly what you're portraying them at. I'm not sure if you were there at the meeting, John.
No.
Yeah.
I just read them.
Yeah, I read them too, and I was, what's going on, and I talked to Alex yesterday, and the only one that was really kind of a contentious item is item number 5 in their list, which I can highlight at that point. But and we can hit them at the end, but I'd just like to kind of go through the pictures here, if you don't mind. So you guys have a sense of where we're at. You could blow this up a little bit.
You start with the ones on top?
Yeah, I think so. So we all know this from Sunday brunches. This is the front lawn at the Biltmore. And these shots are kind of taken across the lawn from, the Warner Cottage on the western side, I guess you're the harbor side, let's say. Then there's pictures of the La Marina dining room on the far right. And then another of the lawn there. If you go down, you can see the first picture down is the existing terrace as it stands. It's kind of, as John said, it's kind of a rounded patio now, and there's a little windscreen in front of that, and that's the dining patio in front of the Bella Vista restaurant. Yeah, you can see it right here. And that was done. What you do there is you take a series of steps down, and then it's like a marble kind of material there. It's the inside stone is on the outside. And so that's the terrace that we're talking about replacing. Then if we could move down a little bit more. That's kind of a straight shot. And this, you can see the wooden platform there is what we're proposing. So we're raising up the first level, and then we're stepping down to the existing level as you go out towards the ocean. So coming out of the dining room, your first terrace level is much closer to the height of the dining room, and then you go down another step. And then that window is the one in front of the what's the bar? What's the name of that one? Oh, the Thai Lounge. That's the window there with the pair of doors, and that's important. When we look on the other end, because we're proposing another pair of doors like that on the other side. And that's the sidewalk in front. It's a brick sidewalk. This is kind of an overall shot of where the terrace is and where the existing brick pathway is. And this is kind of the outside from the street itself. So you can see the hotel is beyond. Okay. So if you go back to the overall view, so you can see where we're located. The upper image is kind of the existing patio that's there. The lower image, we're showing replacing the grass, and we're putting in the patio that is, it looks a lot larger, but it's about 400 square feet larger, the patio itself, and it's a stepped patio. So existing and proposed, yep, that's the proposed patio. And you can see the yellow lines of the existing patio underneath the proposed patio. And then on the right hand, or on the left hand side of that drawing, there's also you can see a staircase coming down, and it says the La Marina room. That's the terrace, and there's a staircase coming down. So the project is really composed of 3 elements. One is the stepped patio. 2 is the window reconfiguration at the La Marina room and the addition of the stair and that patio there. And then 3 is there's 2 pedestrian gates kind of at the street level, at the streetscape. So that's the extent of the project. And those elevations that you see there show the gates themselves. Yeah, there you go. So there's, if you know where the valet parking is, that little Jeep that's coming out on the right-hand side, that's actually going the wrong direction. It should be coming at you. Those are existing walls there, except we've added 2 pilasters, and there's a gate that will go in that location. And then on the far end, there's another gate. These gates are open during the day. They're only closed off at 10 o'clock at night for security reasons. Then if we go to the next page, here's the grading plan. And then the next page is kind of a blow up here. Okay, so now if we want to go through the HLC comments, does that seem to make some sense at this point?
Could I suggest, why did you not make it soft after HLAC? What is it about this that you still believe is the correct answer, please?
Well, if you look back at the historic photos, and that's something that they really didn't talk about at the HLC, is what was they were referring to the landscape as it existed in the pathways that were done in 2003. And they were just kind of suggesting some things of making it a little softer. Alex, you know, as I say, it wasn't really portrayed as that's a must do. It was kind of like they were asked some questions, they kind of gave those answers. But the most contentious issue was really the window glass for the arch window. One person was thinking very strongly that the window should be saved and should be stored, and another person thought no, they should take the glass out and then put new glass in and put the doors in and have thinner metal. And so that was really the most contentious element there. The rest was really just kind of, I don't know, Terry, you could kind of.
And Steve was there.
Yeah.
They seemed to like it. They thanked us, and they didn't drive it home that this really should be kept as a more curvilinear design.
Right.
And our historian made a comment about how she didn't really take fault into the terrace or the landscape. Her main concern was the window and door that's being proposed.
Right. So what we thought was the best would be to come and show you guys, see what your thoughts are, and then collect all of them and come back with a proposed
Got it. Okay.
softening. But you know, we both Alex and us and the proposal team is likes what we proposed, and we didn't really get the strongest objections from them, and they weren't really objecting. So we thought we'd get your comments and see what you guys had to.
Okay, I think we should honor their volunteer work too and go and read the comments at least.
Sure.
You know, not everybody gets a chance to review these plans beforehand.
Sure.
Consider reconfiguring the proposed rectilinear shaped terrace on the east end of the elevation to a less formal oval or other curvilinear shape. Consider simplifying the very complex hedging configuration for the dining terrace shown on the landscape plan. Consider reconfiguring the proposed straight brick pathway along the south side of the dining terrace on the east end of the elevation to a meandering course which would emulate existing brick pathways. Consider reducing the gauge of the rail and stiles of the proposed double door within the arched window on the west end of the elevation to replicate the proportions of the surrounding existing window muttons. Consider safely storing the window element removed by the proposed double door installation in the event that, in the future, the property owner wishes to restore the original window. Reduce the visual impacts of the massing of the proposed patio terrace, iron railing, and stairs on the west end of the elevation by considering the following: lowering the height of the terrace, reconfiguring the railing grillwork, installing the patio at ground level instead of on a terrace, and planting landscaping to soften any visual impacts. Consider on the proposed west end of the terrace railing steps, make the terrace slightly extended and rounded at the front so that it would present a softer, more elegant visual impression. Okay, so Ken, are you done? Ken and group, are you done, please?
Sure, and if you want to bring up the site, go back one level, go back one drawing. Yeah. So just to discuss, so the one terrace that they're talking about is the one coming out of the window of the La Marina. Are you familiar with where I'm talking about? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that one, okay. They're talking about making that round, right? And then the other area that they were talking about is in front of the Thai lounge, the bar, over there. No, further to the right, further to the right. Yes, coming down and making that a little curvilinear, right? That side, Steve?
The brick path.
Yeah, the path at the bottom. Oh, they didn't comment on that. It's really the pathway. The pathway there, the straight path that we have.
They're right there. It's right along there.
Yeah, that path there. Yeah, just along the front. That was that. And then the about the railing, if you look at the elevation, you can see the railing there in front of the La Marina dining room there. Yeah, not there, but further to the, yeah, to the left. To the left. That railing there, they thought it looked too dense compared to the existing railing, which it mimics, but the existing railing wasn't actually drawn correctly. We drew the match for it. That railing matches the railing that's up above there. It's just not drawn correctly. The existing railing's not drawn correctly. So that meets the guardrail requirements. Oh, and then the last was really the mountains in that window there when you blow up that La Marina again. Yeah, that one. Yeah, their idea of storing this whole thing and building a brand new one versus working with the existing and putting the doors in the existing, which is what we would prefer to do. And they were split on that. They were just offering advice, I guess, at that point.
Now you done?
Now I'm done.
Okay. Tip, I know you're familiar with this area of town. Would you start us off, please?
Yes, can I see the, can you bring up, Dave, can you bring up the picture of the existing patio looking at?
Questions.
Yes, I know. Can you bring up the pictures? Let's see now the, go down to the fifth one on the left, that one, yep. So I need to add the applicant right now. So right now, it seemed to me like the patio, the existing patio is one level. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. You come down a series of steps to get to that one level.
And how does that connect to the ties bar? Is it the same level as the ties bar?
Yeah, it's the same level and it all kind of grades out towards that way, correct.
So the ties bar is like
couple steps down from the line.
Like from the main dining room, is that like 3 feet down or 2 feet down?
More steps. Yeah, couple of steps, yeah.
So when you because I'm just not clear. So when you decided to raise the mid-level, are you raising it just right in front of the dining room, or you raise it right in front of the ties bar too?
It's
Yeah.
raising the whole way. If you
It's
look at-
raised the entire way.
If you look at the
So
grading
that,
plan-
so that mid-level will be a little bit higher than Ty's bar.
So how are you getting to ties bar? You're stepping down?
No, it grades out on our civil plan, it shows the grading.
And yeah, can we see that, the new grading plan? The new site plan?
That one.
Yep, that's the one. Can you zoom into that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're removing 3 steps, correct?
Yes.
That's right.
Then you continue that all the way to Ty's Lounge.
No, it's a middle terrace and a lower terrace.
It's a
The
middle.
middle terrace is 3 steps higher than existing. Am I right?
Yeah, that middle terrace matches up with the Thai lounge. So it's all.
Ty's Lounge, existing is 6 steps down.
If you look at if you zoom in or the exterior window door at the Thai lounge, you'll see the finished floor surface. We have 2182. Bella Vista's at 2423. And so when we step down, we ramp down to the metal terrace, so it all works out through grading.
I see. So before you come down extra step, but somehow you're
Yeah.
merging into Ty's Lounge.
Yes.
Right.
And now you raise it, then you just right on.
Yes,
Same
right.
level.
Yeah, so the grading has been flattened out across there and it steps down at the edge.
Correct.
Okay.
And you can see the outline of the terrace below it there. See that kind of round?
Yep. That's why I meant, so it had to be sloping up or somehow to catch up to the Ty's Lounge.
Correct.
Number 2 is that all the new hedging, are they all low? That means the dividers between the dining areas?
Yeah, they're to make private areas and break it up so that, you're not on top of each other. If you go one back from here, you'll see the tables. Go back. Yeah, there's the tables. So the idea is that you have a much more private dining experience right now. I don't know if you've been out there lately, but when you're on that terrace dining, you're kind of cheek and jowl with everyone out there. And this is meant to be much more private for each area, as well as having a better view of the ocean. And so we've stepped in and given privacy to the dining tables to,
So
space
what
out a little bit more.
in a way, what you are trying to do, you're trying to add a theater seating to the front. view.
Exactly, and focus it on the ocean rather than looking at your neighbor, because right now there's kind of a fire pit in the middle and it's a very soft kind of interior sand or marble that's there. And this would be much more in keeping with the brickwork that's at the Biltmore and much more of a historic kind of Spanish colonial exterior experience than what it is
And
now.
then the winds, how high is the windscreen?
Just high enough to block the wind, but not block the view. I think it's like 4.5 feet or 5 feet. It's the same height that it is now.
So the windscreen is mainly to block only the lower, not the mid.
Right. That's what we have right now. So we don't have 2 layers, right, Steve?
Correct.
Yes, we just have the 1 layer out at the lowest level.
So if you sit in the new created level, you have no windscreen.
That's right. Yeah, it's just at the lower level. That's correct.
And then if that's the case, then why is it the owner want to do the windscreen on the lower level? Because half the seating now exposed to the weather.
Well, when you're sitting in chairs on the middle terrace, because that's existing, we did a little mock-up as you saw with the wood mock-up with the existing windscreen, which is at the same height. So,
Okay, that's just my question. The second, do you have a section cut right through that? Can I see that again?
Yeah, there's 2 of them there. There you go. That one.
So where is the middle? Oh, that's the middle.
Yeah, there's 2 sections there. Yep.
Right. I
And
see
you can
that.
see the red is the existing. So our lower section is really kind of lower than existing, and our higher section is really kind of a little bit higher than existing.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
A lighter.
Yeah, Dave, one drawing I saw a big Ute that was going to come down. Can we find?
Photo,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how come?
Well, we had a number of trees that fell down recently on the site in that last rainstorm, and this tree was slated as one that would need to be removed, and it's actually been removed as an emergency permit a couple weeks ago when the big rainstorm hit.
The existing planting bed in front of the existing patio out there, that's gonna go, and then you're gonna go out into some of the lawn area as well.
Correct, correct, yes.
Though not a design question per se, but is this new terrace for the purpose of adding more seating to the restaurant?
No, it's to give theater seating so you can see over the top of each level. Because right now, if the only seats that are desirable are the ones that are right at the edge. So if you happen to make your reservation late or show up without reservations, you're kind of a layer in, and you don't enjoy the view. So this allows 2 levels of folks to enjoy the view.
Oh, that's nice. So you're not actually increasing the amount of diners that are going to be out there, just make it more pleasant.
Right, and then have separation between the diners so that, you're not, you have your own little area. Yeah, and you can see we weren't able to get everyone to have their own private thing. So there's a table that's behind the front table, and then there's tables in the middle. So the idea is to make it much more focused on the ocean, looking over the windscreen, looking over the other tables. Of course, the diners in the La Marina room are another couple of steps up. So it's like, as Tip put it, kind of stadium seating focused on the ocean.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Claire.
Can we go back to the site plan?
Sure.
Well, Dave can do that. Dave, oh yeah, there. I just wanted to check something. Were we still in questions?
Questions, please.
Yeah, I have no questions.
Bill, please.
Yeah, is the freeform shape of the existing patio, is that historic? Was that how long ago was that done?
No.
It's not got history then.
No, it was done in 2007, and my guess it was done, as part of the interior remodel of La Marina at the time, and it just kind of all of the materials of the restaurant just kind of spilled outside.
And just to kind of question maybe other area, obviously the pathways are very loose and organic that walk through and meander, but the areas that are in front of the other spaces throughout the compound, are they more rectilinear in form and shape?
Well, it's one thing we're addressing now because Alex is on our team, and when they did the remodel in 2000, the pathways and the landscape was all done, on its own without being reviewed. And, the curvilinear pathways was nothing that she was ever involved with. And she's quite happy that the pathways are more direct and straight, which, we have a picture of the old Biltmore that shows the pathways that are much more direct and straight. And they're much more, purposely done between the different places. So, if you look at the overall site, it's, there's curving paths and brick pathways all over the place, which really wasn't.
I'm thinking about some of the interior courtyards and the.
Yeah, that's all rectilinear.
They're all rectilinear.
Yeah. That's
the brick that also, is that the material that's on most of the paving out there? I can't remember.
Yeah, there's the brick factory.
And then is the existing Ties Lounge door, is that a steel sash window and door system?
Yes, it would be exactly what's going to happen at the La Marina room.
So the way you illustrated it, though, it looks a little heavier. Is it a fairly thin frame steel sash too, or not?
Yeah, there's two vertical pieces that help support the door and support the glass.
Okay.
And those are existing, and yeah, if you zoom in there.
The hinge sides of both of those that run up to the top head.
Yeah, and those are there even when it's glass. If you slide over to the other one, there's ribs that are vertical there that are just supporting the glass, so it's not like we're
Yeah,
adding anything more.
that's the
It's
same.
already there.
And then do you have any examples, maybe this is more of a comment later, of other site walls and treatments of site walls on the property?
It's kind of in that front elevation that we looked at where the gates were. Those are for the most part the existing site walls. They're low plaster walls with that one there.
Well, I was since these are new, right? Is that a site?
The only thing new is the two little columns. The rest of that is existing.
Yeah, so what I was asking whether or not you had any images of that kind of thing on the property elsewhere, so we can compare at some point. We don't need to see it now.
Yeah, maybe in the photographs you could find some.
If we have the historical report on file, there's images of those.
Of that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a plaster wall with a tile cap.
And then the last question is, have you thought about during the sunny days there on your patios, on the lower patio, and umbrellas, and whether or not that will work against you for the folks that are up on the upper decks?
We've hooked up tables with umbrellas, and it does resolve with those issues.
So you can still see around and through and not looking right smack into an umbrella, in other words.
Yeah, hence why we built the mock-up, and we've had a lot of chairs and a lot of meetings up there looking at that. Yeah.
Okay. That was all my questions. Thank you.
And then at the end of the day, the hedge in front will be trimmed down.
Oh, one more last question. Sorry. Had you exercised the idea of sort of a quatrefoil where you have rectilinear and rounded, certainly more geometric shapes in your designs at any point in time, since HLAC is looking for rounded elements? Is there, have you looked and considered the option for?
Well, as you know, when you go there, the special places like at the ballet drop off and at the courtyards and at the fountains and those types of things, we've kind of left those as the accent points, and this we saw as a fairly straightforward brick patio, and more of just the function of it. We didn't really think about going over the top with any kind of new geometry or anything added to the.
Yeah, I didn't know if the fountain shapes that they had on site had any quatrefoil sort of shapes or.
They do, but they're in the inner courtyards, and we just the straightforward thing here. We didn't get overly decorative, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Dave.
Yeah, you mentioned a historical report. Was that specific to this project?
Well, Alex wrote the report back in 2002, and then she wrote an addendum for what we proposed here. Of course, we worked very closely with her right from the get-go before we even proposed anything, because once you mention something to the owner, it's hard to take it back. So we actually kind of approached Alex very early on this and made sure that she was part of the discussion right from the beginning. The railings she thought were appropriate. They matched what was there. The scale and the size of things she thought was appropriate right in front. So as I say, when we were at HLC, it was a very nice complimentary meeting, and they just had some thoughts. And we're not necessarily in the mindset of adding a bunch of rounded or rectangular, rounded curve types of things here, because it doesn't really seem like we want to detract from the hotel itself. But we thought we'd get your thoughts on that, and if we have to round a corner or two, we'll think about it and come back to you.
But your historian is supporting this specific project the way it's done.
Yeah, Terry, you had some thoughts?
I'd like to add something. I was at the HLAC meeting with Steve, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the members really, the curvilinear they were talking about was the path mostly, and then the hedges. They said if you could break up some of those hedges with pots, just so it wasn't so formal and linear. But they never really said anything about the actual terrace and configuration of that of the terrace and the steps. So
Yeah. My other question for staff is the HLAC, their recommendations, just that recommendations, or are they something we have to specifically address?
Their comments, all their comments.
Henry,
I'm asking staff.
Henry, are you here?
So if Henry's not there, I don't believe the structure is landmarked, correct? Then their comments.
Okay.
Staff would be left to determine whether or not any of the changes, if there is historic significance, it would be a CEQA issue, and staff would evaluate that for CEQA consistency and policy consistency. But HLAC does not have control over the structure or direction over the structure, as it's not a landmark structure.
So the higher level of review is the historian.
The historian, correct.
Okay. It's a little challenging because the HLAC comments are so specific, and then you're saying there's something different. It's hard for us as a board to understand all that. Short of you going back and getting those comments remade to be more accurate to what you think happened. So that's why I'm asking. Those are my questions.
Dave, could we focus in on the terrace itself on this lower plan, please? I see some dots in the middle of the planters. Can you tell me, are those lights or are they trees or what are they?
They're lights.
So this is something that will stand above the hedge then?
No, it's just like planter lights, small little planter lights.
Going
It's on the
down.
front page. Yeah, they're little, mushroom lamps.
Yeah, little mushroom planters.
Going down.
Yes.
Okay.
Pathway lights.
Yeah,
Exactly.
in the middle of the hedge.
John,
yeah.
just so you know, those are pathway lights. Those are the ones we look at all the time. Little
Okay.
pathway lights.
So the question is, the view is probably, let's see, 180, probably 135 degrees. Have you considered introducing some trees somewhere around this, like what is happening up at San Ysidro Ranch, to create a canopy during the summer hours? It's not as hot at night, it's more intimate. Have you thought about that in terms of landscaping, please?
Well, we have some trees that are there. You can see the palm trees that are there. And as you know, we're right on the ocean here.
Right.
So of course, we fight more with staying warm than cool. And so our bigger challenge here is really patio heaters, and the sea of patio heaters, and not so much the sea of trees that provide shade.
Thank you. Public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to address the board on item number 5, 1260 Channel Drive, please?
Hi, John. No speakers for this one.
Excellent. Okay, comments, please. We are on for concept only. Tip.
Well, thank you, John. Sometimes, embracing change is kind of difficult because this is one of the places that been around for years, obviously, and the patio, the way they had it, the fire pit, the windscreen, I can think of many positive things about the area. It was very charming. It's you get to see people, the fire pit, and you have a windscreen in front of you, and it's a very nice place, especially for brunch, as the applicant mentioned. And kind of nice to run up and down the brunch area very conveniently and easily. So that was some of the pluses of when it was open a couple of years ago. And then I look at this. It's definitely more private. It's much bigger. And even though there's a lot of seating areas, but I'm just not sure, how do you service those areas? Do you run over to another table to get to your table, to get to where you're sitting? And if you do that, then that doesn't defeat the purpose of trying to make it private. And if that making private is better than have it all together. And it's just a lot of things that kind of float in my mind. And then secondly, about the way the everything by the ocean, if it's a nice day, then you never need the sunscreen at all. But when it gets a little windy, then you definitely need it. And when it gets a little windy, then I just feel like probably half of the created theater seating will be exposed to the wind, and then that will be maybe too windy, too cold. So that's another consideration. And I think overall, it's rather complicated to design the way the applicant has it now. But I think when you're in it, you probably feel it. You don't feel it looking from above, looking down. You see everything look like a maze of in and out. So from the public views, I really don't think it changes anything. In my perspective, from Channel Drive, you're looking up, it probably looks the same. The path is a little straight out. But other than that, but for the usage of the area, I just have a mixed feeling about the new design. So that's why I stand on it. Thank you.
Yep, I'm not so sure I understood what you said. Can you
Well,
clarify?
I'm not sure
it?
which. Yeah, I'm in the West. There's certain elements I like about it, certain elements I don't like. I think it's too rigid, it's too big, it's too many. It's like a little maze. But at the same time, I'm trying to balance the need of the owners and the public. And from the public point of view, I don't think it changes anything. But the public also uses the hotel. And for that aspect, I'm mixed. I just want to hear the comment from the other board members.
Okay.
Can I just add one thing? On the project description, there's an error in there where it says the total area is 150 square feet larger. It's actually 497 square feet larger. So the patio area is larger, but it's not as much as you would think, given all the ins and outs of the. So I just want to correct that one number that's on the project description there.
Thank you. Elida, comments, please.
Well, Tip brings up some interesting points. Where's the need? We're not adding more diners. There's an old thing about restaurants. The closer you get people, the more communal it is. And I love the design, and I love the mitigation of having what I'm assuming is going to be either boxwood or olive, dwarf olive separation. So you're bringing the garden into the area. I don't know what to think. This is another one of my conundrums of what are we gaining here? I don't know how to comment, so I won't comment anymore.
Claire.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, I just wrote down this word casual, and for me, the Biltmore had, it can occur as being very casual, but at the same time, in this case, it's very tight, and so I think for me, different kinds of words than Chip is saying, but that's the conundrum for me, is because I, when, and maybe never, but when the Biltmore was open, it was one of my favorite places to go walking, and I loved walking along these brick paths, and there's a sort of casualness of all of that, coming off of the beach and, coming in and having something to drink or something to eat in a casual way. This design is very formal, especially in how you've laid out the dining section. It's very formal and rigid. And so for me, my comment would be to relook at it and see if you can loosen it up a little bit, not giving up all of what you've designed or what all you're intending, but trying to make it somewhat more casual than proper or rigid.
Like it was.
So that, well, I mean, but if they want these raised terraces, you know, now it's going to have be a couple of raised terraces so they can, so the higher people up in their seats, they can see the ocean. Okay, I have no problem with that part, but I do have a problem with the rigidness of it all. And that's my comment.
Bill.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts, ideas here. I'm okay with the patio. I suspect that, like, for instance, on that lower terrace, that you'll probably have twice as many seats, one on either side of that walkway down the middle. So I think that we're going to end up with more seating in general out there, which I'm okay with. And I'm okay with the formality. And I think that maybe to Claire's point too, I think the way that you could become less formal is in maybe not so rigid of an edge between the hedge and the paving, but maybe use a loose flagstone. You can still keep the terraces and square up the paths that lead you up and down the stairways and maybe the ramps. But the patio areas where the tables sit, maybe that's more of a loose edge and not such a
that's
square.
Perfect.
And I think that could work. And then I would recommend to keep sort of the theme of the pathways, loosen those up and make those more meandering, because that's what's happening through the rest of the Biltmore. You know, you've got these winding paths. So that one that's on the south side, just make that more winding. That's okay. That's easy to do. And then the last comment I have is that patio that comes out of the marina, is it La Marina room?
Yes.
That to me, that rigid rail stair just doesn't really have a lot of flair to it. And I think that if you were to put a large pot that could act as part of a guard on each of those corners instead of a pilaster, and infill the interiors with rail, that you could really do a nice job of detailing that to be a little more detailed, just a little nicer. It's the front of the building. You're seeing it from Channel Drive. Dress it up a little bit, get some planting underneath the site wall there so you diminish that step there. And I think that would go a long way as well. Yeah, and I like I said, I think paving, loosen that paving up in the patio area, and I think that could work. Otherwise, I'm in favor of, where you're heading. I think you need some refinement, but I'm okay with what you got started. Oh, and last but not least, let's make sure that is a true steel sash door and window system that you're replacing. So it looks like it's got the historical element that it needs to keep with what's going on in the rest of the Biltmore. And that's it.
Dave, please.
Yeah, I think most important in my mind is that you are working with the historian and meeting those requirements. I think from a functional standpoint, I'm open to the tiered seating area, and the way you've laid it out, it sounds like you've studied it on site, given it careful consideration. This is what your client wants. And because this doesn't really have a visual impact to the community or the neighborhood, I think, you should be allowed to do what works for the owner. I do like the comments from the other board members about softening things up, but I also am okay with the formality of it, if that's what's best for you. I think the doors seem like a give me to me, reusing the existing doors and placing the window and placing the doors within it and keeping it matching the other one. I like Bill's comments about softening that patio off, that giving that railing a little more detail. And I like the idea of loosening up the pathway around it so that it feels more like the rest of the pathways, and then you enter into that more formal. terrace. But overall, I think it's a good project, and I can support it.
I want to echo the comments about formality. In particular, on the lower left-hand side of the patio, there's a single table at a cul-de-sac, as it were. And it is in line, there's a straight road all the way across that lower patio. I think that road could meander a little bit. And so that there are some of those areas that are more private just simply because you can't see straight through them. I think the word that we're all looking for that we don't find here is magic. I think all of us have felt that this building is a magical building and has a quality to it that really speaks to the heart as much as to the eye. And as drawn here, I don't see that heart being brought into this design. It is a concept drawing, I get that. And I am hoping that the next time you come back, you will find ways to bring that magic, that heart that we see in San Ysidro Ranch and other places. I hate to bring this up, but this has a sense to me of, I think it's called the South Beach Grill over by City College, that standalone, and it just does it. I don't see much more romance here than what they have there. And I don't mean that to be an indictment, but sort of, guys, are you sure about this, please? So anyway, you are on for concepts. What do you guys want to do next? Do you want to try coming back with another plan?
What we would like to do is come back with some nicer drawings, because of course we just took the old construction drawings from 2007 and just kind of worked on them. We can certainly come back with nicer renderings that show, and we can certainly improve the edges, and we can get the magic that you're talking about in a drawing. And if this is in the right direction, of course, we'll work with Alex to add all of your comments, like the pilasters at the railings and how those elements work. And if we could come back for preliminary, at least, or preliminary final, that would be our pleasure. But of course, it's up to you guys.
Members of the board, what do you think, please?
I thought, for me, I think it's because we're not dealing with size, bulk, and scale. We're not dealing with all of, compatibility, all those things that we normally deal with when it comes to conceptual. And so for me, I think that I have no problem with them coming back for preliminary full board.
I think preliminary full board too. And Ken, can you do us a favor? Can you take a very tight photograph of this door window,
Sure.
maybe a couple of them, show us what you wanted to end up with? I am assuming there is an example of that somewhere on this building already, correct?
Yeah, it's at Ty's Bar. It's,
Please get that and say, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
I assume it's going to be fine, but a real photograph, this is at best a sketch. And so, if you're going to go for preliminary, tighten it up, please. And I think that a really talented landscape architect can probably get what we're looking for. So any further comments quickly before we go on?
Any chance to come for preliminary / final?
I don't want to do that. I don't
No.
hear Claire. If it's ready, Ken, we can get you on the next meeting at consent.
Okay, great. I appreciate that.
I would add, John, just additional photos around the site of other site walls and things like that to help us kind of get a better feel for your gates that you want to propose there.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen and lady, or ladies, I'm not quite sure. Okay, item number 6. Elmo, 1455 East Valley Road. So I never knew what the word mans, I'd never seen the word mans before. So Ty, can you share with us what that word means? It was a great word to learn. Ty, are you here? Ty?
There he is.
I'm here.
Okay,
Thank you. The Elmo has a existing duplex towards the back end of the property. They are two smaller duplexes. Each one is 1,200 square feet. We just have a new pastor, and the pastor right now is renting houses nearby, while this duplex is empty. So we thought, give it a little nudge, we can make this into a man's, which is the housing for the clergy or for the pastor, for Elmo. Elmo is the only church that does not provide pastoral housing. There are 4 other churches in the neighborhood. We're the only one that is lack of pastoral housing. So this is what we are proposing to do. We are proposing to add 265 square feet to the existing duplexes and connect duplexes into one household, just one kitchen, while making one of the bedroom a little larger for the master bedroom. There is an existing carport. It's pretty outdated carport on site. We're gonna take that down and replace it with a 2-car garage. It's all 1-story buildings. Most of the structure, we're gonna just keep it as is and add on just a minimum square footage that we are proposing. If you want to go through, yes, so this is what is there right now. It's a little run down, a little outdated, as you can see. Nobody's living there right now. Next sheet, please.
Dave, I think this is a pretty straightforward project. I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time on it. Maybe you could help us through that with the drawings.
Yeah. So this is our existing floor plan. Some interior remodel is needed. Addition towards the back end of the duplex, make it into a master bedroom. This will not be visible from the private road, yeah.
No, that.
Claire, put yourself on mute.
Thank you. So this is the limited scope of work we are proposing to the existing structure. Plus a garage. And all the details, material to match existing, which were documented over here with the exterior lights we're proposing.
Okay, that's the set.
Yes.
As I said, fairly straightforward. Questions? Are you done now, Ty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so questions, Dave, please.
I don't have any questions. Thanks.
A tip, please.
No questions, thanks.
Claire, are you with us? Okay, I'll go back. Elida, please, questions?
No questions.
And Bill, questions?
Yeah, Ty, the parking area there in the front do you have guest parking? Is that guest parking and then a pull into the garage? Is that why it's so long like that?
Yes. two car. The carport used to face the street, and we turned it away from the street. So we were gonna go into the garage from another angle, away from the street.
And do you feel like you need all that depth for that maneuver? In other words, if you zoom into that, Dave, real quick, you think you need all the 50
Back up.
50 feet back up and for parking and everything?
Getting into the garage, could you?
We may be able to reduce a little bit length of it.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah, that's pretty much what is there right now.
Oh,
yeah,
it's like that?
yeah.
That's already like that?
Similar, if you go to side by side, page A1, page A1.
There it is, that one.
Yeah. You can see that the majority of the driveway, almost, it looks like it's part of the street.
Oh, it pulls in there. Ah,
Yeah, we are already reducing quite a bit of.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay,
We try to minimize it.
got it. Thank you. That, I didn't see that. Thank you.
Yeah,
for clarifying.
yeah. Thank you.
That's
Bill.
all. Thanks.
Claire, are you back, please? Okay, and I have no questions. Public comment. Is there anybody in attending this meeting that would like to address the board on item number 6, 1455 East Valley Road, please?
No, I don't think we have anyone left who's attending.
Yeah. I feel fortunate that the members are still here. Okay, so I'll close public comment now. We have comments, please. Again, same order. Dave?
I think it's a very modest project. Doesn't have any impact on the community. I think actually the parking arrangement is better. The garage is not facing the street. Pulling out seems to be safer, and the parking is concealed by the walls. So for all those reasons, I can support the project.
Preliminary, final, and consent?
Yes.
Tip, please.
Yeah, I have nothing more to add to what Dave just mentioned. Thank you.
Claire, are you with us, please? Elida, you, please.
I agree with Dave completely.
Bill, please.
Preliminary, final on consent. I'm good with it.
Okay, what do you, and so am I. I think the one comment is, could you please try to find a way to reduce the asphalt in the front of the house? We'll talk about it at, the parking area.
Yeah, John?
Yeah.
We are thinking, in order to provide more
guest parking.
Yeah, perforated area for the property, we may use gravels in the court, outer court area to separate from the blacktop from the street.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
I think it's a good idea, actually, Ty.
One thing I might add, Ty, is right there on that back side of that upper right elevation, maybe a little planting strip between the wall and your paving there too, just to kind of help from the inside. You might want a little green too.
Okay. All right.
So it's not hardscape to hardscape,
And a tree wouldn't hurt either.
Not showing that there are there.
So Ty, we do ask that landscape plans be provided, even if it's a minimum of showing the perimeter condition, hopefully with some kind of perimeter planting.
Okay.
Sure. I thought Elida's comment was good. I thought that the one about the planting against that wall, just trying to soften the building down a little bit, I think would be nice.
We'll provide a basic landscape plan on the next meeting.
Which should be your last meeting, so, yeah, okay?
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Okay.
See you next time.
All right.
Item number 7, 1616 Isabella We have seen this before. We are on for preliminary final. And the parking requirement in this zone is 2 off-street parking, which will be provided by the 2 covered garage parking spaces located outside the front yard setback. If you remember, they brought the garage forward and in this small neighborhood. So, and then there's another one, nice project, mass bulk and scale acceptable. One member expressed concerns regarding the expansion of the garage, reducing the separation between the street and vehicles parked on the driveway. Okay, so you are on for preliminary final. What have you got for us, Dale?
Once again, the plans have not changed a whole bunch from what you have. We polished off the drawings a bit more. And we talked with the planner, and they agreed that the garage that we're proposing to move forward still meets the criteria of parking. And off-street parking is obviously, the 2 spaces are in the garage. And the rest of the building is all just new, added on. Everything is going to match existing. This was part of a house that was damaged in the 2018 flood that we had. And so the materials that are there are relatively in good condition. So what we're doing is just looking to add a new master bedroom. And by doing so, we can't go too far back because there is an existing pool. So we were forced to push the garage a little bit forward, and just the rest of the house will remain as is. We'll just have the small connectivity between the existing living room and where the garage was to the new master bedroom. So we provided details and sections and finalized drawings.
As a matter of procedure, Bill, did you get a chance to review this?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Look good.
Okay, so Dale, that is the kind of presentation we like if you're done. Are you done?
As I am done.
Okay, so questions, please. Alida.
No questions.
Bill, please.
No questions.
Claire, please. Okay, Tip, please.
No questions.
Dave, please.
No questions, John.
John, please. No. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 7, 1616 Santa Isabel, please?
Nobody for this one.
Thank you. Okay, comments. Let me ask a question. Is there anybody that has any concern except just going for a final, a preliminary final as presented? Anything else that needs to be addressed, please?
No.
Who wants to make that motion, please?
I'll make a motion to grant preliminary and final approval for 161 Santa Isabella as submitted.
Okay, is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay, excellent. Anything else, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, carried unanimously. Thank you, Dale. Good luck with that.
Thank you, ladies and
John?
gentlemen.
Yes.
Might I
Alida.
confirm
Oh.
that Claire was not part of that vote?
She was not part of that. I don't know where she is. I think she might be on the phone.
Thank you.
I don't know what she's doing. Okay, item number 8, 1515 Lingate Lane. The proposed project received preliminary approval from the MBAR on November 17th. Since then, the applicant has changed the project to respond to comments they have received from the neighborhood and is now asking for a revised preliminary approval. After receiving the revised approval, the project will then head to the decision maker, which is the Montecito Planning Commission, for approval. Kristen, are you here with us, please?
I am.
Would you do me a personal favor? I could not figure out what it was what you revised. So can you kind of summarize that for us, please?
Sure, absolutely no problem. So basically, The synopsis of this is we received neighbor comment after we presented to you at the MBAR board, sorry, all board members. Basically, the neighbors directly to the south had some concerns about the elevation that would be the south elevation of our structure of the ADU that would be visible above the hedge from their kitchen window. Our revisions to kind of work with the neighbors included they kind of showed a favoritism to the northern elevation that views towards the mountains from our design set, and they requested that we try to see if we could redesign the southern elevation to better echo that symmetry. So as a portion of this, what we have proposed to do, if you go to sheet, let me see what might be the clearest for you. A101B, I believe it's sheet 15. Might show a little bit more of the clarity. Or actually, if you could go to sheet number 12, just to show a little bit of what we are now proposing to demolish. Basically, our first approved MBAR submittal counted on building an ADU directly above this existing garage and storage area. As you can see, the storage area is a little bit of an appendage to that garage. In working with the neighbors, what they kind of said that they would prefer to see was doing a form that echoed our northern elevation. So if you go to sheet 15 now, as a part of this, what we basically did is demolish that existing storage area and reconstruct it in line with the garage to kind of do a flatter southern elevation. And then this is again, this achieves the requested symmetry. Basically, if we were to go to sheet, I believe it's 18, A201B. You can now see that the upper right corner shows our northern elevation that has the Juliet balcony with the double French doors. Sorry, one over to the right. I think this is our top left.
All right.
This is the approved northern elevation that the neighbors, basically had a preference for. You will see if you go directly page south of this.
Kristen, Dave, mute yourself, please. Or Claire, okay, whatever it is.
The south elevation, kind of per the neighbors' comments, has now been revised and simplified. If you go to, let me see, I can.
Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We are showing a little bit of a reformatting of what the second story ADU looks like. We are proposing a little window that is centered on the gable. This is not a full height Juliet balcony or anything of that nature. It is meant to convey that, stylistically by having a little wrought iron rail for a planter shelf below the window. And then we have redesigned our pool equipment enclosure below that to house the pool equipment centered again on that gable to both address kind of like noise concerns, have a roof over it, etc. And again, have alignment on the center gable. On the east elevation, which we can see right here, we have added just to kind of like a simple addition of this gabled form in this area. We've added an additional dormer and a man door that is more off of the storage area. We're proposing to house the recycling, trash, etc. in the storage area. So this was just a little bit of a cleanup and a refinement on this elevation. Overall, the square footage of the garage and storage area have not changed. The ADU has grown by about 15 square feet, which was a nominal just addition to take advantage of that form. And I think that is about it. We frankly, like, this was something that we discussed a lot with our owners. We thought it was kind of up to them. They decided that they wanted to come back for MBAR prelim to show respect to their neighbors and to kind of try to alleviate some of their concerns. They have seen these designs. We've met with them several times over this project. I am not 100% sure why they didn't provide any comment during the first 4 times that we were presenting to MBAR. We received notice of their concerns right before we were going to be basically scheduled for Planning Commission.
Okay, and just as a matter of review, essentially the setback modification still needs to be made.
Yes.
Okay, so I did note that Chris might be here. Is he here? Does he have anything to say, or did he not make it today?
I am here. And,
Do you have anything to say, Chris?
Yeah, no, I think I'm just here to answer any questions if anything comes up, be it for the landscape.
Okay, so very good. Claire, number 1, questions, please. Claire?
Yes, I'm unmuting myself, John. Somebody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Bill?
Just to clarify then, is this adding to the original thing that we already approved? They modified this and the barbecue we'd already looked at. So it's this change and the pool?
Yes, so the basically as part of the modification, what we were requesting for is, or what we are required to do is bring all of the existing non-conforming structures into compliance. So basically the area of the garage and storage area was already a part of that. We're not adding any additional square footage to the requested modification. I think our only change is just the way that that storage area is frankly distributed. We're still
so it's
below
everything
that.
we reviewed before plus this little change then, is that right?
That is correct. I think the biggest change is just the elevation and the design change. In speaking to our planner, they just felt like to kind of button up everything because it still constituted a design change that we should come back to MBAR.
Because it shows all the rest of the stuff we'd looked at already. So, okay, that was all I had questions about. Thanks.
Tip, please.
No questions. Thank you.
Elida, please.
Is this center area, is that a patio and the pool surrounded by a garden? Is that what that center area is?
Yes.
The centered area is actually an elevated existing courtyard. It has a little grassy area and a sitting area basically off of the living room. These changes are proposed under a different MBAR project that we came to. It was the main house, the renovation of the main residence. So it was just under a separate scope of work.
So what are those little arrows? What's that rectangle? I'm sorry, what is that rectangular piece and the little arrows? What's that?
That's like turf and a
Right here,
right here. Oh,
Yeah.
This is a symbol for grass. So this whole area is I think it might be actually more evident on the landscape plan, if you don't mind switching to the
page, Dave,
last page of the set.
Yeah.
It just is a little bit more illustrative to Chris's credit.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, a lot more legible. So the idea is that this is a little elevated courtyard with a lawn area and a water feature.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Dave, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that the structure in question with the modification isn't getting any closer to the street or to the neighbors. It's just a reconfiguration of what we've already reviewed.
That is correct. Technically, it gets further away from the neighbors. If you were to look at our demo plans for the first level, the existing storage area actually gets closer to the southern neighbors. In this revision, we are peeling back a little bit further. We are not getting any closer to the existing street frontage or front setback.
Thanks.
I have no questions. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 8, 1515 Lynn Gate, please?
No comments on this one.
Excellent. Okay, so comments, or do we want to just go directly to a vote, please?
Go to a vote.
Anybody? Okay, just going.
John, I do have one comment.
Please.
I did speak with the neighbors on this property extensively twice while they were in the process. So I just wanted to let everybody know that and the presenter that and it really was mostly what they're concerned about. And I think they must have expressed this to the applicant, was the view. And I think whatever they've done, I think has made them happy. But I did have, the two neighbors called me together about this, and they were sent to me by the Montecito Association. So that's I just wanted to be clear about all of that with all these rules we have to do. So that's all. That's the only comment. I think the project has come a long way, and it's been hard for everybody, and I think we're close to it now.
This is on for preliminary only. I continue to have my concerns from a global point of view, and will be voting against it. Is there a motion for approval, please?
Yeah, I can make the motion to get granted preliminary approval. Do we give it to return for final on consent, or do we have enough to do that?
I'm okay with final on consent. I think these drawings are very, very far along.
Yeah. Okay.
So is there a second to that, please?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. I'll see you back on the consent calendar, which Kristen, even though I voted against it, it is a separate action. Final is only, does these drawings reflect the intent of the preliminary approval? I will, of course, look at it only in that vein. My concern is a planning preliminary concern. It has nothing to do with final. So
Sounds good.
just so
Thank
that you know that. Okay, item number 9.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kristen. Okay, so item number 9, 808 Hot Springs Road. We are on for both preliminary and final. The applicant is working with Public Works to obtain a road encroachment permit for the right-of-way improvements. The driveway entry gate is not in the right-of-way, but Public Works requested a 30-foot setback from edge of pavement. Public Works will either approve the 26-foot setback as proposed instead of the 30-foot, or the location of the gate would be shifted back by approximately 3 to 4 feet. Cass, let's see, there's
Yes.
a memo. Okay, that's it. Please, it's up to you.
John,
Great.
you
Do
want
we
to
review
read the
these?
comments?
Yeah.
Thank you. Excuse me, Cass. Thank you, Dave. Nice architecture and upgrade. Restudied location and length of wall within right-of-way. Provide details on landscape screening for wall proposed within the right-of-way. One member likely cannot support the project with wall located within the right-of-way of Hot Springs Road. One member recommended that the parapet and roof line be restudied. Choose roofing material with the lowest reflectivity value possible. Provide full details at next meeting. With that, Cass?
Yes. All right. Thank you, Chair and members of the board. I will try and continue the brevity of the last 2 items here. So location-wise, if we need to bring up Google Earth, I don't have a vicinity map, but this project is halfway between Ribbon Rock Road and East Mountain Drive on Hot Springs Road. Architecture-wise, it hasn't changed since the board last saw it in October for conceptual review. We've just added more detail and refined all the details. There we are, halfway between Ribbon Rock and East Mountain Drive. So, Mr. Mendro, if you're driving, would you go to page 8? And that is the survey. And we can see on the conceptual plan, when we presented it, we had a wall in the right of way. It was a sound wall, and we were proposing a wall
to replace a chain link fence that ran the whole length of Hot Springs and turn the corner on the south property edge. And you can see where the chain link fence is on this survey if we zoom in, but it may not matter. We've taken that wall away along Hot Springs for the most part and along the south property line. And if you go to page 9, sorry, the next page is our proposed site plan. So we are going to keep that existing chain link fence along Hot Springs, the east property line and the south property line. The gate that was mentioned in the planner's memo, we do have an encroachment permit in, as noted, and I'm working with roads department. The gate is existing and our intent is to keep those existing columns where they are. We have a new sound wall just on the north side of the existing gate and a little bit on the south side where we have a pedestrian entrance. All of those walls have been moved out of the right of way. And in the case of the north side of the gate, it's even further into our property, about 5 feet from the right of way. All of this is like a catalyst. You can see the red parking space there is a catalyst for Montecito Fire Department. I've met with them on site twice. Our driveway is not long enough to require a hammerhead. They would like to create a turnout that is parallel to Hot Springs Road so they can pull their engine off of Hot Springs Road, stage their equipment, protect this home, and not block Hot Springs Road in the event of evacuation. So we've created this parking space for Montecito Fire Department in this area. Associated with that, we've created these walls and we've abandoned the rest of the scope where we had the wall previous. So I'm hoping that, kind of working with MBAR's comments, working with Public Works, working with our existing conditions, the client's budget and Montecito Fire, we're hopefully at a place where we're meeting, everyone's desires, and we can kind of go into questions about that, but I just kind of wanted to address that first and foremost of the changes we've made since the conceptual review. Otherwise, architecturally speaking, the building is the same footprint that the board saw at the conceptual review. We've just added detail. The ridge lines haven't changed, the height hasn't, the massing hasn't changed. So we can go through all the detail pages, which are mainly on 7 and 8. I know there was in the meeting notes, was a concern about the shed roof over the pantry meeting the parapet wall, which can be seen in the sections and a blow up section. So I think if you go to page 20, Dave, we can see this section, those elevations. 21, sorry. That upper right corner, the proposed section F, there's the pantry, that shed roof, how it met the parapet exactly. I think that's where the comment came from about the roof line needed to be restudied. So I did a blow up section of that and a blow up detail of that to make sure that we could get our flashing in there with the standing seam roof and stucco, et cetera, et cetera. So we can look at that specific detail if the board wants. We have the lighting plan. And the one thing that wasn't part of our conceptual review set was a landscape plan. And I'm hoping, I believe Lane Goodkind is on the Zoom meeting and he has his landscape set that he can present because the board didn't see that before, but otherwise just a lot of details.
Lane, are you with us, please?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi.
Do you want to present your plan, please?
Yeah. Are they, Dave, do you have them?
Yep.
Okay.
I hope somebody has them.
They start on page 3, Dave. The first 2 sheets are, I don't know what all those yellow marks are, but that's the civil grading plan. And yeah, this is Lane's set.
Yeah, so the plan hasn't changed since last time, other than adding a lot of all the detail needed for basically final. We have a lighting plan. The landscape lighting is very minimal. All of it is pendant and downlights. And we've elected to do the entry lighting at the entrance gate by not using any wall sconces or any visible light of any kind. We have a very nice mature live oak right there at the entrance. So the plan is to light the entry gate and including the pedestrian gate with downlights from up in the trees. And everything else is a downlight from up in the existing trees. And there's a few minor path lights, downlight path lights. So going back to that first page, Dave, we want to talk about those details. Page 3. Thank you. Paving is all meant to be very earthy. We're going to try and reclaim some of the terracotta roof tile and use it for paving. That's detail number 4 on the lower left. And then there's a few details of sandstone, native sandstone cobble in the driveway, along with a chip seal. Moving on to the site plan, page 4. Everything has pretty much stayed the same. Like I said, some of the garden areas were reduced in size. There's a linear hoop arbor that's called out by detail number 3 L1.1 there. It's a very simple, just steel hoop that vines and fruiting vines and some espaliered citrus will grow on. There's a lawn area, but it's going to be all native sedge, carex. So detail sheet number 5 next, thanks. These are the details of the vehicular and pedestrian entry gate. The goal is to keep it super simple and just be a reclaimed rough sawn vertical timber. It'll probably be a 5/4 or true 1-inch timber, and just unfinished with a copper flashing cap. So it's just plaster walls, existing plaster columns to match the house, and just raw wood, salvaged wood. Next, just a couple details. There's an outdoor fireplace, very simple, plaster, gas fired. Number 3 is the arch hoop trellis that I was talking about. And then there's a small gas fire pit down by the pool. Next. It's an irrigation plan. Unless there's any questions about that, we can talk about that later. We can just move on to the planting plan. I believe it's probably 11 or 12. Sorry.
It's okay.
There we go, 13.
There we go. 13.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so 13, the plant list is all California natives, a lot of it locally native, a few minor exceptions. So again, there's the carex lawn. The only trees we're adding are Arbutus marina, those 3 down there by the lawn. The rest are all existing. The goal is to get, it's not shown on this plan, but the goal is to make that plaster wall disappear in a creeping fig. We just haven't added that to this.
Are you 2 done?
Yes, I'm finished.
And Cass?
Yeah. Let's.
Questions, Dave?
No questions, John.
Tip?
No questions, John.
Claire?
Yeah, can the landscape architect point out to me on the plan that's on the screen right now where the existing trees are? Are they just the ones with the little black dots in the middle? Is that
Yes.
how you describe those? Am I correct in assuming those are the existing ones?
Yes, the large black dots with the dashed outline.
And then the little dots, those are also existing. The little black dots.
To the north or left of the gate, I believe so.
Yeah.
No, those are proposed plants.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's the only question I had. I was just trying to sort it out. Oh, I actually I do have another question. And it would be in the lighting plan. Dave, if you could bring that one up.
PDF 3 and 4.
No, not that one. Oh, this one. Now, Dave, could you expand it a little bit so that I can't, from my end, I can't tell which little thing is which. Oh, there we go. Okay,
The
now,
arrows, the arrows
Yeah.
down lights.
the
Claire,
arrows are the, okay,
Can I ask that we go to the sheet above, please?
oh, fine, okay.
Just hang on a second, Claire. And then zoom in, there's a box, landscape lighting schedule. So
Okay.
that's gonna give you, and they have the number of tree lights, 23, path lights, 39. So that's the context for it, Claire.
No, this is fine. That's exactly what I was trying to look for it, and I couldn't even read the little dots from here. So right now, okay, you've got 23 hanging lights, down
Yeah,
lights?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Questions, we're in questions.
I know, I'm holding back, John. I'm not ready. I got it. Okay, those were my questions. Now I'll wait.
Great, fabulous. Bill, please, questions.
Dave, could you go to number 26 there? Details, chimney.
In
actually,
the architecture?
Go to 11. Go to 11. Oop. Oh yeah, in architecture. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, wrong set. So 26.
Yeah, 26 or 11.
Well, 26.
Okay.
I'm looking for the detail sheet. 27. Sorry. Is that it? No. Oh, there it is. On your chimney shroud, does it need to be that high? Have you engineered it to be that way? I'm talking about the tile portion of it. Could that be narrowed down?
Yeah, I think it'd be best to look at it in the elevation sheet for the
Yeah.
proportion
Well, actually,
to the rest.
Just if, yeah, you can go to the elevations. That's fine too. Where are those?
Let's see. Sorry, Dave, I'm trying to, there you go.
I found it, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, can that be lowered and still function okay? Just a question.
Yeah, I think we could lower it, but probably not a ton, just to hide that mushroom cap.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to find out. And then I think the next sheet below it, Dave, go one more down. And are you locked in on the height of your entry element there, or the flat ceiling portion above the door? Do those have some flexibility as well? Height of the roof or the ceiling height of that entry? There's some.
I mean,
there.
Yes, I think is the answer to your question. I mean, we've engineered this. We've worked because we're here for a preliminary final. I mean, we have gone through structural coordination with this.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing is written in stone.
Got it. Okay, that was all I had question-wise. Thanks.
Okay, questions, Elida?
Can we go back to 13, please?
Landscape plan or
Landscape.
architecture?
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was
Two different files going on right now.
gotcha.
Yeah.
PDFs were too large, so I had to break them down.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
What is your property line screening material, please?
That's all existing pittosporum with a couple other things mixed in.
That's good and bad news. It's existing, but ouch. Okay, thank you.
I had some questions on the landscape set. PDF 10 versus PDF 2 versus PDF 13. The word lawn to me indicated a high water use, and you're calling it out as a low. Was the use of the word lawn maybe deceptive in its normal meaning for this project?
That classification comes from the actual species. I did not set that. That comes from the WELO website for Carex pragracillus.
And do you know what its plant factor is, please?
I don't know it off the top of my head. No, I'd have to look it up.
It's a native. It's really it's in the low water.
It's in the low. Okay, very good. And so that's true in every case around here. When you use the word lawn, you're actually talking about a very low water using plant.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. And then I will have comments about the lighting, but I have no other questions. So public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 9, 808 Hot Springs Road, please?
Oh, no comment on this one.
Excellent. Okay, so we are now for preliminary final comments. Go back the same way. Dave, please.
I think it looks like a great project, both from architecture and landscape. I think it'll be not have impact to the neighbors in the community and it'll be a nice upgrade. My main concern, which I think you already have alluded to, is the number of tree lights and maintaining the semi-rural character of the neighborhood, and that just seems like an excessive amount of tree lights.
Okay, thank you. Tip, please, comments?
I agree with Dave. Thank you.
Claire, please.
Right there, I think we all just need to go to the same page and work it out.
Okay, Bill, please.
Yeah, tree lights for sure, but what I was alluding to on that elevation is if you could just, it looks like that grill is a little larger proportionately than the chimney. It just felt a little odd to me. And if just more of a rectangle instead of a square, I think that's just my opinion. Maybe others don't agree. And then if you go up to the next elevation there, Dave, these are easy things. Just giving you a little meat there between the edge of the roof and the ceiling line. See, just the proportion of that just felt a little squished, a little pinched is all. Other than that, I'm fine. That and the tree lights. Thank you.
Elida, please.
Oh, I think it's a nice project. I'm not as concerned about the tree lights as my comrades are, but I think it's a nice project.
Okay, so what I have heard, and I also agree about the tree lights. I want to, as chairman, I want to give you just a context. Our marching orders are the general plan or a community plan, maintain and preserve the semi-rural, low-intensity residential character of the community. We have consistently been concerned about people that are trying to light up the sky, and that is including tree lights, and we've kind of become very, very tough on that. 34, I think is the number, is that right, or whatever the number was? It's just, 30 too many, 26 too many, something like that.
Yeah, 26.
26 too many, and I don't know how you guys want to deal with that. We could set up a small subcommittee. You could come back to consent, which would probably be easier for us with a significant reduction of that. Also showing the chimney and the entry element revised. I do not want to get in the way with you guys moving forward. You are permitted to be in. We can give you preliminary tonight and have you resolve these issues on final so that you have a clear path forward. What makes sense to the board? What makes sense to the applicant, please? Kath?
Having a clear path forward would mean a lot to us. So I would be okay coming back on final on consent if everyone else would, to resolve those open-ended items.
Members of the board, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I just have a question for you. Sorry to interrupt. I just
fine.
realized that looks like there's a math error on my spreadsheet. If you were actually to count the downlights on the plan, I think it's about half. For some reason, it's doubling the amount of lights.
Okay, well,
and I'd also like to say that these are 3-watt LEDs.
Yeah.
It's moonlight.
yeah,
They're
we all
barely-
understand that.
Okay.
We do understand that. So,
Okay.
Bill or Claire?
Yeah, John, I just wanted to see the cut sheet for the downlights. What are we using for downlights?
We don't have a cut sheet.
we don't have a picture of the light fixture here?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, normally I think we normally have. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we don't have that. Okay, well, then they should bring that back too, because for me, it really depends a lot on the fixture. So, you know.
Okay, so let me try a motion, see if this works for everybody. We'd like to grant preliminary approval with the applicant to restudy the chimney proportions and the proportions of the entry ceiling to the adjacent roof, and to restudy a significant reduction in the tree lights, and to return on final on consent. And when I say significant, generally speaking, we're approving one moonlight per tree and not too many trees. So is that true for everybody? Am I
that's
overspeaking
good,
the
John.
case?
Yeah, I mean, the things we've done in the past is we've tried to keep them off of the perimeter. And if you want more lighting in the center of the house where it's shielded by other trees and landscaping, and we've also limited the height to 12 feet in terms of the mounting of those.
Yeah, and we're treating you like we're treating everybody else. It's not like we're picking on you, believe me. Okay, so does everybody understand that? Review the chimney, review the entry, and a significant reduction of the tree lights. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Excellent. Is there any further discussion, please? And you can come back next week if you can get on the agenda, Cass. So
Okay.
I don't know if you've got time, et cetera. All those in favor, please?
Aye.
All those opposed, please. And is there a motion for adjournment, please?
So move.
Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Any discussion about that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Dave and David, my heartfelt thanks to you. I mean,
Yes,
I
thank you,
understand
David.
how hard that
Thank you,
is.
Dave.
Good
Thank
job.
you, John.
Thanks for running the meeting, John.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
In person.
In person.
In person, yeah.
In person.
Wear good
Oh my God,
clothes.
we get
Wear
to go
good
to town.
clothes.
We got to shower and brush our teeth, huh?
Yeah.
I know.
Not that, please.
No.
Put some shoes on.
Or pants.
Yeah, right, that one too.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
see y'all. Bye.
When is that meeting?